Okie dokie. Good morning. It's 7 a.m. I'm Rayford Brown.
I'm Kelly Knapp.
I'm Lee Barrows.
I thought someone was going to contradict me there about being 7 o'clock.
I had to think, honestly, me it originally sounded like you said 10 a.m. I had to think about it. I'm like, wait,
No,
what
she's
did you
used to
say?
flying in here at 6:59. That's all.
So you were here 5
She
minutes
had
early.
time to
I
talk
was.
this
My
morning.
God. Did you wash your car before you came?
First, there was not a lot of traffic.
Mhm.
Great.
Two, I got a lot of my mom's prep work done last night. So,
Very good.
yeah, less to do this morning. I feel like I forgot to do something, though. I just don't know what it is.
Well, good. As long as you can't remember, it doesn't matter, does it?
I hope it's not something important. Yes.
Oh, my goodness gracious. What an interesting midday news breaking
Oh,
Yeah.
series of events yesterday. I'm like, whoa, where did all this come from? So we'll be discussing that coming up here in the next half hour or so.
Mhm.
And at 7:30 this morning, we've got the one, the only, the superintendent of Onslow County Schools, Barry Collins.
I'm
Dr. Barry
sad.
Collins, sorry.
Great guy.
I'm
He's a
sad that
wonderful guy.
he's retiring.
I'm happy for him.
but
I mean,
I'm happy for him also.
He can put all this mess behind him and he can go home, look in the mirror and say, you did a good job in spite of
He's done an excellent job.
All
And there
the-
was
naysayer pukes out there.
Well, I can't say what I want to say because
I did.
No,
I
I'm not
did.
going to
Yeah,
use the word pukes, but
Well, you just did.
no, I will say that he led the schools with dignity, with grace. He's done a fantastic job because of a episode that happened last year. You got a group of people that wanted to get on the news and just say ugly things. And there's
Yeah,
no
why don't
need
they
for
call
that.
us? We'll talk to them.
Yeah, go ahead, call. Lines are open.
Yeah.
Do it. We have a counselor on staff waiting for you.
Yeah. And the house is surrounded by security.
That's
the
right.
studio is fully protected.
Oh,
So come
no.
on. Bring
After
it
all
on.
the stuff you were texting last night, I was like, we're going to start locking the door because you got me worried now.
Oh, I'm
worried.
sitting there. I propped up the other computer upstairs, up in the house, and just going to look over things and put the rest of some stuff. And then all of a sudden, it took leave of its senses completely and totally. What in the world? There were funny things scrolling through and weird stuff. It looked actually,
China.
but there were glitches going through all the images and everything that was there, and it looked like something that, when you've ever done some work and you've had somebody working on your computer from afar, where they have control.
Yes.
Well, it looked like that, but it was scrambled, and it wasn't in any language that I could recognize.
Well, let me tell you
Those
this.
aliens.
I have AVG for my antivirus because it's free. And I've had it for years. It's a great antivirus
Do
program.
not say you haven't been infected, because
No.
you will be.
No, I've had it for years and years. But anyway, when it runs its scans, it says, look, your identity is at risk. Your IP address is showing. Hackers can't get in there.
Upgrade. Send us money.
Yeah. So for another $2.99 a month, blah, blah,
Oh,
blah.
you fell for it.
No, I mean,
Okay.
because I had upgraded previously because they have it fixes your broken registries and stuff like that, and it tunes up your computer. But the only problem I had last night was when I went to upgrade it to, it also scans your social media too, so hackers can't try to get in. Not saying that they won't.
No, they will.
But stop being negative.
They do it all the time.
Yes, you're right. But anyway, it got to where I had to put in my information, and I got to the part where it asked for my social security, and I was like, nope, I backed out of it. I've paid for it, but I don't know. And I got thinking they
Why
probably
do they
want
need
that
your social?
because what they're doing is scanning for any hacker that's trying to get your. I don't know.
Well, why,
But-
once again,
Right.
why,
Well, see, when they asked for my social security number, I was like, nope, not doing it. Get legitimate emails later from AVG, but I'm doing this. I'm not doing so I just paid for
I'd make
nothing.
up one then
That's
and
what
just
I was
write
gonna
down
say.
what I made up.
What's
but
yours? Just give me
I'm
yours.
not
I'll
telling
make
you
yours.
anything.
Use
That
yours.
I will not tell you.
Yeah, well, that right there.
I need to find a dead
said,
person.
What?
Take their social.
Well, I can find my mama's social security. Anyway,
We could sign her up for a lot of stuff. You know that, right?
Bless her. She never had much of anything. I could probably make her rich, huh?
Uh-huh. So, Anyway, it was an interesting time, and I've got to take a run out here and play Uber for just a minute.
Yep.
Yes,
So
you better.
You guys hang in there for you.
We
Y'all
will.
got me for about 7 or 8 minutes. I've
Yeah,
only got about 15 miles to drive round trip. I can get there and back in 10.
It's
You don't
less
even
than
have
that.
15. You probably got two there and two
Ooh.
back.
That's if you go straight.
Yeah. Well, what are you going to take a scenic tour?
Well, I need to stop and make a couple of Christmas runs.
Not
Yeah,
that well.
it's not Christmas Eve. Don't be false.
Yeah.
We know we wait. You wait till Christmas Eve,
Yeah, on Christmas Eve.
right before
I'm gonna be
7-Eleven
I'm
closes.
going to be busy on Christmas Eve, so I'm already wrapped up. I've got a cardiologist
Busy.
appointment on Christmas Eve.
What do you got? What
I
are you
bet they
doing Christmas
cancel it.
Eve?
A cardiologist appointment
I bet they
Oh,
cancel
that
it,
day?
Yeah.
reschedule it.
that afternoon, late.
What?
It's already been rescheduled.
Yeah, mine was too because he went to New York.
No, mine was rescheduled because
That
I had something
reminds
else
me,
to do.
my yearly eye appointment that you have to make a year in advance. They sent me a text saying, "We're going to have to reschedule you. Call. Please remind me to call
I'll
them."
remind you.
I've been trying to remember for 4 months
Okay.
now to
Hey,
call it.
Lee, call the eye people.
Yes.
I just reminded you.
Because it's hard. I make it when I go in for my eye appointment before I leave. I make the next year's
Same.
appointment,
I think I did that. Yeah.
which I can understand that a lot of things will happen between now and then. But I
Okay, I'm going to
definitely
take a
need
quick
go.
leave here. I will be back shortly. So
Okay.
y'all you got good hands.
Yeah.
What?
You want to lock the door?
No, we need the
No.
door
Just
locked for
checking.
him.
Okay. Goodbye. I'll be back in a
No,
little bit.
they don't
And then
want to come in
got
here
some
with two
stuff
crazy
to
women.
discuss. We got a cool one guy's in jail.
Mhm.
Another guy's been freed. Two
Mhm.
big stories yesterday that broke about
Yes.
midday.
We'll talk about those when we come back.
Well, when you
we'll
come
do
back,
that.
as soon as I walked into
we also
Lowe's,
got a local yokel we got to talk about.
Yeah.
Yes,
that
piece
All
counts
of
right,
too.
so hang in
garbage.
there.
piece
Ladies,
of garbage.
ladies going to give you some cooking recipes right now, right?
No, we're
we're
not
not.
going to do that.
Well, if I was there, I would.
I got a story too.
All right.
Right about.
I'll
I
be
got
right
a
back.
story about a Colorado cop. You go ahead with yours. Oh, and I have a story that I have been saving for you to come back.
Oh. Okay. Well, then mine real quick.
I got to find it.
You know, there's with this national health care has been, when I mean national health care, I mean companies have been in the news a lot lately because of what happened in New York. Well, and I know about a little bit Friday or Monday, but I want to say finally Anthem Blue Cross, which in my opinion, try to pull the wool over people's eyes, but learned real quick they shouldn't. So they've decided so they came up with this plan, and it was they were going to limit the amount of time covered for anesthesia and surgeries.
Saw that.
Yeah.
I
So
saw,
in
I
other
mean,
words,
like,
if you, let's say, I don't know, let me throw a number out there.
You're
Let's say
halfway
you
through
had
the
a
surgery.
3-hour surgery,
I'd be
but
telling the
something
doctor.
happened or you went over and you had to go for 4 hours. They were only going to pay for anesthesia for 3 hours.
I saw that. Well, they've rescinded all
Of
that
course,
now.
they sure did because one, the anesthesia group had a fit, but social media, people on social media lost their minds. I don't blame them because they were talking about that this was consistent with industry guidelines. Now, I don't like in clinical guidelines. I don't like when the term in the medical field or whatever, clinical guidelines is used, because in my opinion, whether it's in the mental health field, the substance abuse field, or just the medical doctor field,
Right.
you can't 90% of the time, but I even go with 95%, you can't use quote clinical guidelines because medicine and therapy and substance abuse treatment should never be a one size fits all approach.
I agree.
Because you
I
can
agree.
have 5 people in a room with the same issue, and all 5 are going to have to be treated in a different manner.
Right.
So when they use the words, appropriate with clinical guidelines, that's like, law enforcement.
Right.
For example, my husband used to always say, no matter what they teach you, like in BLET or whatever,
Right.
you really learn on the job. It's like training and whatever. You can't just go by what you learn in a book, because a book it takes out the other aspects, the human aspects, et cetera, out of it.
Right.
I think this is consistent. I mean, I don't know if Anthem Blue Cross is bored, if they just, I don't know how they operate, but just sat around and go, okay, we need to, we're only making $2 billion this year. We need to try to make $4. So what are we going to cut out? And somebody raises their little hand and says,
Well, let's cut anesthesia.
Let's
in
cut
half.
anesthesia. I mean,
I saw that
shame
story
on
when it
these
first came
fools
out.
for doing
being
this.
like, how am I covered?
Heated.
After
Yes.
3 hours, wake me up.
Yeah, I
we'll
mean,
do this. We'll finish another day.
because I mean, surgeries often you can't predict. They say a surgery's going to last 30 minutes, and it takes 45 or an hour because things happen, or they get in there and there's another issue,
That's
or
right.
whatever. I mean, yeah. So thank goodness, and I honestly believe, had this never been made public, they would have went through with this.
Oh, sure they would have.
You know,
And then you wonder why people were so upset with healthcare and these big insurance companies. And I hate to say that. I said that to an agent yesterday when I called Blue Cross Blue Shield Federal.
That's who I have as Blue Cross Federal.
And I call, and they are automatically transferring all of us postal workers to this new health insurance postal something.
Who the heck are they? And fly-by-night company?
Yeah, it's just like it's a new company, a new insurance that they created for retirees and for active postal, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like going, okay. But in the meantime, they're saying that the special plan that I have with North Carolina Blue Cross Blue Shield, which is my Medicare plan, but it's a Freedom Plus plan that I get so much extra with. Well, you can't have that now that we've transferred your federal from this to that. And I'm like, why?
Yeah. What does it matter? If you're paying for it, why do they care? You would think they would want that because they can transfer, partial payment to the other one.
Well, I called
idiots.
The federal one last night. Well, I can't tell you anything about the North Carolina, your supplemental plan. You'll have to call them direct, which they run by business hours. They're not 24.
Of course.
And she's like, well, what do you need to know about this new one? And I said, well, you know what? You send a letter and you talk about the MPAD and the HBLQ and the da-da-da. How are we supposed to know what all that is?
Correct.
I said, it's enough to make me want to go seek counseling right now just to reading this letter. I said, no wonder healthcare insurance companies are facing so much and people so disgruntled. I said, I shouldn't have said that, but y'all make us crazy.
Well, let me tell you what we encountered at work recently. I would say in the last month, we got a denial for a client for their therapy because they said, we can't bill for that code. Now, the code was the client had an adjustment disorder due to what's probably going to end up being a short-term problem, and usually give the diagnosis for adjustment disorder, for something that's not going to be long-term.
Right.
And we were in the office heated, I was like, who are they to say this client doesn't have that? And talk about you can't bill. Then we put another client, same insurance company, believe it or not, and this is a major one, so it's not even some fly-by-night one, had an adjustment disorder, and then they had generalized anxiety disorder. Very common disorder, but they have generalized anxiety. They meet all the DSM-5 criteria. Talking about you can't group those together. Since when? Been doing that since the dawn of time.
Do you ever start to think about the billions, well, I will say millions of dollars that the CEOs and other healthcare employees, up in the higher ranks are taking home?
That's what I'm saying. And look, not to speak ill of the dead at all, but do you know he made $10 million a year?
Yeah, and he's just got a big bonus. And I kind of alluded to that yesterday when I talked to the healthcare company I was talking to, and I thought, and then I apologized, and I thought, it might sound like a threat. I don't want to be doing that, but I just said, do you remember back in the day, like we were children growing up and we had to go to the hospital because we fell, we cut something or whatever.
Yeah.
Everything, you got one bill.
Yeah.
One bill for everything.
And it was all listed out.
It was all listed out. Now you've got
52 bills.
A bill for the anesthesiologist, a bill for using the emergency room, a bill for the doctor.
Every Band-Aid they give you.
A bill for every nurse that was in there. I mean, it's ridiculous. And they're all different people.
Well, have you noticed when you go, especially I'm going to use the hospital because that's where I've seen it done. When let's say you're admitted into the hospital, and you got your little bracelet and it's
Yes.
got that barcode on it.
Yep.
Have you noticed when they give you stuff, they scan it? You know
Yes.
why? Because that's for billing purposes.
Yes,
They're not
yes.
scanning it to see. Well, they might be also scanning to see who you are.
Give
but
you a
they're
box
billing.
of tissue. Oh,
Yeah.
let me scan your
Yeah.
wristband. I mean, really?
And they send you home with goodies like that giant cup that some people drink out of, some don't.
Do you really want that
Tissues,
cup?
that gross deodorant and that awful mouthwash that's not fit for consumption.
Oh, and potty pans.
Yes.
I mean, who
Yeah.
wants that stuff?
Right. No, it's just
Plant
it's
some
terrible.
flowers in it or something. I just
But these insurance companies, and I do understand why people are frustrated because, so let's say, for example, if you've ever looked at your explanation of benefits, it lists the amount the provider bills.
right.
Okay. What the provider bills is not the amount they get. Let's be clear about that.
That's right.
So let's say your provider bills, I don't know, $200. Okay. And they might, depending on the insurance, might be lucky to get $125 out of that.
I was just never in my life,
But these insurance companies are. But now let me say, I know some people are for national health care. I've got a friend living in England, still waiting 4 months and counting for their cardiology appointment. I would not want nationalized health care. I just would not.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
See, there's a
And they
possibility.
tell you who you have to see.
There's a possibility in the upcoming months,
Mhm.
going to try to put it off as long as I can,
Mhm,
then I may have to have some surgery.
mhm.
And so I'm hoping that we're talking 6-8 months down the road, maybe longer, hopefully.
Right.
But it worries me with all this healthcare issue and then wanting to change my plan. And see, before every time I went to the doctor for my normal checkup and my normal whatever, I had no copay. I didn't have to pay a thing. I walked in because I pay for it all through the year. Oh, in this new insurance that they're transferring me to,
Fly by night one.
this new
Yeah.
postal insurance is $50 more a month.
Of course. Lee, why am I not even so that? But how do you get these new
Something the government did, something the postal service did, with
what do you just wake up one morning and just say, I'm going to start a new insurance company? Where do you get the money for that? Because if no one's even signed up for it, how do you have money to
I don't know, but I need to get my friend Dominic. He's with the Postmasters Union. I'm part of that, and maybe he can explain all this to me. But anyway, all right, now that we're all heated up over
Yeah.
insurance,
let's hear it.
you brought up a story you were discussing last week about the failures of FEMA within North Carolina over
Mhm.
the hurricane.
Yeah.
Well, I came across this story. And I know when people want to say, well, FEMA's doing what they're supposed to be doing.
They're not. They suck.
All right. This is by WB-TV
Okay.
out of that region over there, the western part of the state. And they said a spokesperson for the Federal Emergency Management Agency, which is FEMA, apologized Wednesday, this was last week, in response to a question from WB-TV about why the agency failed to deliver dozens of travel trailers and manufactured homes to North Carolina residents. Helene.
Mhm.
Their questions came after WB-TV the week of Thanksgiving that the agency a total of 103 temporary travel trailers and manufactured homes to the families in North Carolina by the end of the week. At that time, FEMA had only delivered 27.
Yeah.
By Wednesday, December 4th, FEMA had still only delivered 46 homes, well short of the number of promised temporary homes. WB-TV learned that more than 500 families have been approved for a FEMA travel trailer or manufactured home in the wake of Helene. The agency's slow deployment of the homes means hundreds of families are weathering the snow and freezing temperatures currently hitting the North Carolina mountains.
Yeah.
So, look, FEMA even came out and apologized for not having the trailers out there. But yet, here we go. We can get into a whole nother discussion on how we can provide for these immigrants coming across the border illegally,
Mhm.
but yet we cannot provide trailers for these people displaced by Helene.
Correct.
So
Yes. And why
FEMA's-
can't we?
FEMA said there were only 100 temporary homes in North Carolina as of last Wednesday. 46 had been delivered, and the keys have been handed over to the survivor. To the survivor. That's a nice way to put it. Other homes were either undergoing a final inspection en route to delivery or waiting for the destination to be ready. They should have already had
What do
this
we-
months ago.
Well, first of all, what are we talking about final inspection when a lot of these people are over there living in homes or in tents on their dirt ground?
That's right.
And some of the one or two I can think of right off the bat that I know for a pure fact that are living in their home with the whole bottom half of their door
Right.
missing from the flood.
Sure.
So all that cold air is coming in. Do you
And-
think they give one flying kitty about whether their little trailer that will keep them
No
warm is
electricity,
affected?
no heat
Nobody
to keep them
cares.
warm.
Yeah.
It is just
Oh,
ridiculous.
it's maddening. I'm telling you, FEMA should be disbanded and completely
Mhm.
revitalized.
I agree.
So, see,
Yeah,
he's back.
we haven't even taken a breath, Rayford, while you were gone. So,
You've been complaining about FEMA, right?
yeah, we started with healthcare insurance 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
Well, FEMA's something else.
I hate FEMA.
Well, they've not delivered on their promise to the people in North Carolina.
Oh,
So,
first time any political pundits have failed to deliver on their promises, right? Very first time ever. I know y'all are shocked and dismayed, surprised. Okay, we probably ought to just go ahead straight into weather, right?
let's do it.
Do it.
Today, the marine forecast brought to you by Community Prevention Services of Jacksonville. Only a couple weeks left to load up on anything and everything you can find to fulfill the annual gifting requirements out there. I know that for so many Americans, it's a pleasure to buy gifts for other people. But for some people, it's a stressful period of time. I'm pretty sure you know people that tell you year after year that they don't want any gifts, that they'd rather just enjoy the quality of your time with them, maybe break bread. I'm one of those people. Have you ever noticed those folks, perhaps their relatives, when the gifts are distributed? They honestly thought that their requests would be honored. If you're one of those who spends lots of money on gifts at Christmas, have you not noticed that others might feel awkward because not only did they request no gifts, they didn't buy any gifts for anyone else? Can you imagine how they
That
feel?
would be me.
Do you remember them slipping away earlier than perhaps you thought they would have? Good chance they left depressed, promising themselves that they would not attend any more gift exchange events. Anxiety over making absolutely sure you get something for every person you may cross paths with over the holidays, even whether you know them or not, is bad enough. A token gift is meaningless. If you go buy a piece of junk just to hand, you can say you've got a gift. It's all wrapped up and pretty. Doesn't mean a whole lot. For people you see once, twice, maybe every year, what's the point? Pretty sure you've thanked someone for the gift you received and they said something like, "Oh, now remind me, what did I get you?" Special gift, wasn't it? For some, trying to recover after such an event is stressful. I'm not sure who really needs the help of the counselors at Community Prevention Services more. Those who get stressed out themselves trying to make sure they have something for everyone, or those who get presents even when they didn't want anything. Community Prevention Services of Jacksonville, for issues brought on by Christmas and other situations, give them a call at 910-353-0972. That's 910-353-0972. Offshore today out to 20 nautical miles. Look outside, y'all. Gale watch is in effect from late tonight. So it's not even rough yet through late Wednesday night. The ocean is not going to be your friend. Today, southwesterly winds 5 to 10 knots, increasing to 10 to 15 this afternoon. Seas 2 to 3 feet. Sounds and rivers a light chop. Now tomorrow, don't let yourself get caught. Winds from the south at 25 to 30 with gusts to 40 knots. 45, 48 mile per hour winds tomorrow. Seas 7 to 10 feet offshore, occasionally to 13 feet, building to 9 to 13, and occasionally to 17 by tomorrow afternoon. Near shore, seas 6 to 9 feet. Sometimes they'll be as high as 11. They will build to 8 to 11 in the afternoon tomorrow. And occasionally you may find a rogue wave of 14 feet. Sounds and rivers very rough. Thursday, northwesterly winds 15 to 20, gusts to 25, diminishing to 10 to 15 in the afternoon. 7 feet, occasionally up to 9 feet, subsiding to 3 to 5. Sounds and rivers are going to be choppy, diminishing to a moderate chop in the afternoon.
Today, mostly cloudy, a high of 72 with 15-mile-an-hour gusts. Tonight, cloudy, low of 63 with 18-mile-an-hour gusts. Tomorrow, showers, 100% chance, so rain most of the day. High of 72. I love this breezy. I love it when they say breezy. 14 to 22-mile-an-hour winds and 37-mile-an-hour gusts. I better take my little bird thing down, chimey thing down.
The birds can fly.
Oh, man. And then Wednesday night, still showers, mainly before 8 p.m., otherwise cloudy. And then at some point overnight, it will clear, but the low will be 34 because that rain on Wednesday is ushering in a cold front. So the winds Wednesday night will be 13 to 18 miles an hour with 28-mile-an-hour gusts. Then Thursday, sunny, high of 52. Thursday night, clear, low of 27. Yikes. And Friday, sunny, high of 50.
Now, tell me about Friday night.
Cloudy, but 34.
29.
Okay, better. It was 23.
It was
Yeah.
29 yesterday.
That was 23 last Friday night while I was
Yeah.
leaving the ball game there. And
Yep. So
Yeah,
you're,
Have a lot.
was.
yeah, you should be.
I don't know.
It'll be
I'm still
nippy,
so-
but not that
I
cold.
don't know. Do we dare go Friday night? We might have to wear Kevlar.
nah,
Vietnam. We're going to
I've
Vietnam.
been there before. Not a problem. Always came back. Yeah.
Mhm.
Quickly sometimes.
Yeah, I worked at a lot of the offices there. Well, that was way back many years ago, but
For one Marine, the long-awaited, sometimes feared verdict on charges he acted illegally and killed a man 2 years ago is over. Daniel Penny was found not guilty in a New York courtroom yesterday. He was arrested about 10 days after he confronted a man who was threatening riders on a subway. The charge was felony manslaughter. Penny, with a host of actual witnesses, said the man was threatening the passengers, and the passengers were a bit more than anxious. Some feared for their safety, they said. Penny, who served honorably in the Marine Corps, put the man, Jordan Neely, in a controlling chokehold. He said he was not trying to kill or otherwise harm the individual, just trying to subdue him until help got there. But an assistant district attorney decided to make this her signature case. She could go national with this one, and she did. An ADA who has been known to unusually liberal leanings towards clients accused of serious criminal acts, Daphna Yoran handled the case for the state, going after the strongest charges she could find, manslaughter. Well, the judge threw out that charge last week when he found out that the jury could not agree on a verdict, either guilty or not guilty. So he threw those charges out. And then on Friday, he sent the jury back to the chambers to deliberate some more on a lesser charge that he could not tell them about in the beginning. It could have been set up so that it could have all been in the very beginning of the opening, or in the opening of charges. An autopsy showed Neely had synthetic cannabinoids in his body.
Mhm.
What are synthetic cannabinoids?
Fake THC, fake marijuana, like something probably, in my opinion, that you're going to vape.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Or gummy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Reports presented also concluded he suffered from schizophrenia.
Yeah.
And there were other issues presented in court. So the guy had a bit of a problem.
Hmm.
When police boarded the train, Neely was still alive. He was still in the chokehold, or still
Yep.
being held down.
Mm-hmm.
And Penny was not the only one holding him down. There were others assisting, but Penny had him in the chokehold. When police boarded the train, Neely was still alive. That was weighed by the jury as well. It was confusing. Did Neely kill him by putting him in a chokehold? Was that a contributing cause to his death? It's hard to find out when you read the autopsy report. It's somewhat confusing.
It is.
Well,
Have you seen the aftermath?
I've seen a lot of the aftermath, and I have to
Yes.
say, about certain things that I think for some of the family members to come out like they did, and I guess his man, but family members calling this racist and all that stuff. And the reason why I have to say that is, by all accounts, this man was homeless.
Yep.
Where were these family members when this man was homeless, living with
weren't helping
untreated schizophrenia? Yeah. So now all of a sudden you're his best friend?
Yeah. And he was black.
Yeah.
And of course the Marine was white.
Yeah. But that
that doesn't matter. But
one thing has nothing to do with the other.
But and
who are these family
here's
members?
the other thing. Did you see the eyewitnesses? Did you watch any of the interviews with the eyewitnesses?
Oh, yes. Stop.
They were black.
Yes.
And they were saying, you know what? I'm glad this Marine was there. He saved us. We were afraid for our lives.
Witnesses testified that they were in fear of their lives.
And they had these all on interviews. And I'm not sure where everybody was. They weren't watching TV apparently, and they weren't watching the reports on the news. Duh.
Well, I think this once they could not reach a verdict on the original count, the most serious count, I was like, there's no way they're going to find this guy guilty, because I think they were just fed up and like, look, this judge has lost his mind telling us to come back and we're done.
That's two down for Alvin Bragg.
When you look at it, like I'm kind of looking at it postmortem, pardon the pun, you say, okay, this judge kind of knew what he was doing, because if he had said, okay, we're going to declare a mistrial,
they would have immediately went back in.
Then they would have charged him again and tried to retry him again.
I agree with that.
So that's what I think the judge probably had more smarts about what was likely to come down. And it was a directed verdict of not guilty, in my personal opinion.
And now he cannot be retried for this.
He's one and done.
Yeah.
Well, I think the state saw what was coming down, and that's why they dropped that one charge on Friday.
Well, the judge did it.
The judge dropped it because they didn't have it, but he dropped it.
They agreed to it.
With the prosecutor.
The DA has to.
Because they knew he couldn't get it, could not get it done. So we have a special guest in the studio joining us.
Yes, we do.
Got a whole bunch of them.
Let's talk happy stuff.
Happy stuff.
Happy stuff.
School days. School days. What was that little ditty song? School days. And that's all I remember.
That's all I remember.
I've never heard of it. I don't know what y'all are singing.
Dr. Barry Collins, superintendent of the Onslow County Board of Education.
And we were
school board.
He's the superintendent of the schools.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're the boss of all of them.
He's
I don't know about that, but I appreciate you guys having me.
Oh man, we talk about you all the time.
Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to you.
Yeah.
We were watching the meeting, and at the end there, and it was announced after the closed session when they came back, and Albert Garvey, the chairman, was like, we need to vote on accepting the resignation / retirement of Barry Collins. I was like, what? No, you didn't hear me?
Well, it's funny because when I heard that, it made me think, oh my, this is really happening. Yeah.
Got it kind of hard to back out now.
It was.
Well, did you think about raising your hands? I was just kidding. Maybe another year.
I was texting Rayford. I was texting Melissa, who I'd been talking to. I was like,
no. It's something that we've, my wife and I have been talking about for years.
Good for you.
And she's been retired. My wife, Denise, which is my rock,
Right.
She's been retired for 2 years now.
Oh, okay. So it's time to get on board.
We've got a little grandson, Levi,
Levi.
18 months old. So
they're the best.
We love that, and just spending time with them. Of course, my mother, she's Mary Collins. She's 82 and is in really good health. But it's at that time,
of course,
you want to spend a little more time with your folks too.
Spend as much as you can.
Absolutely.
All the time. Yeah. Okay, so your grandson's almost 2.
Almost 2. Yeah.
And you're retiring at
Yes,
his
sir.
gruesome twosome years?
That's right.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Well,
don't you remember those days?
I do. I actually do, raising my 3 kids. And so, but just to be around to help out with that.
Well, that's good.
Being a grandparent's a little different.
Yeah.
I can already tell.
It's a whole lot
yeah.
different.
You can spoil them and send them home. So.
Yes.
There you go.
There you go.
Here's some sugar. Eat all the ice cream you want, then go home.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
It's good stuff.
Okay, you've been within. It's unusual to find these days, somebody who kind of started here and stayed here, spent most of his entire career
Yeah.
in the Onslow County system.
Yeah. Actually,
Do you know your way outside Onslow County?
I have been outside of Onslow County, but I can tell you it's always good to come home.
Didn't like it either.
is. I'd rather be here than anywhere.
How long you been in the system?
36 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, but if I were to count the number of years that I actually went to school here, I mean, I started school. Of course, back then it was first grade.
Sure.
I started first grade at Silverdale, and
Okay.
went to Tabernacle 4 through 8, and then White Oak. I graduated from White Oak High School. So I go.
There was no White Oak High School.
Well, my
when I was
daughter
here.
graduated White Oak.
My
so,
granddaughter
yeah,
did, but
good.
But we're celebrating Jacksonville right now.
you better be.
I tell you what,
Yes,
Go
sir.
man,
Cards.
we're going to 71st on Friday,
Are
if
you?
Lord willing.
We
yes.
are too.
Have you
Yeah.
got a bus? Can we ride with you?
Well, I've got a SUV if you want to pile up in the back.
We'll
we
have
have one too.
we'll have at least three of us go.
Speaking of that, before I forget, I did bring you a little gift.
Uh-oh.
And this is from I stopped by to see the principal at Jacksonville High School, Brenda Herman, and somehow the word got out that I might be on the show today. She said, "Well, why don't you take them some stuff from
Okay.
Jacksonville?" So this is from Brenda Herman,
Oh wow.
Yes.
the principal there at Jacksonville High
Yes.
School.
Well, Lee,
Yes.
my wife, and I all graduated from Jacksonville
That's right.
High.
We're
So
proud
this
of-
is for Mr. Rayford.
It's real. I see that.
Oh my gosh.
This one,
Oh,
this
thank
one's
you.
for Kelly,
Now,
Oh,
see,
thank
Kelly, you can join us on Friday with
Well-
our Cardinal stuff.
I can't. I've got.
and
I
this
have to do
one's
it, but I
for
hear
Miss
you.
Lee.
Thank you
But I
so
love
much.
You're very
Jacksonville.
welcome.
I'm so
Very well.
excited.
Mine.
Yep. So
Oh my
there's a little bit of swag bag there. So.
Oh, this is cool. This is really
Oh, my.
nice.
Nice. Let's see everybody.
Yes.
Cardinals.
Oh, Miss
Cards,
Harmon,
cards,
thank
and more
you.
cards.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Doctor, you had the
And
right.
if it's not the
prescription
right
today.
size, as she said, just
Oh,
give
I
them
love
back.
that.
I'll
and
go
we'll-
into it.
Yeah.
Look at this, Lee.
Oh, all right. That's what we know what we're
Oh
doing
yeah.
tonight.
Oh, absolutely. I'll
So
wear this on top
excited.
of
This is awesome.
You know, I'm all about, it was so cool because when
We show our
Jacksonville
colors.
had their homecoming parade, they
Mhm.
came right down the street in front of my house and they were throwing little balls at me and giving me candy. Oh.
So there's your little cardinal.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yep, I got mine right here. Yep.
Oh.
There you go.
Yep.
So we-
And this,
we-
what was the principal's name?
Miss Brenda
Miss-
Herman.
Yes.
Miss Brenda
She's
Herman.
outstanding.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Yes,
You don't
thank
You
you.
notice the colors of the bag.
We
know-
was
You don't know how much
Yes.
Yes.
this means.
Can't get better than
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of Christmassy too.
Oh yeah.
It is.
All the way around. Perfect.
Yes.
Dr. Collins, we appreciate it. We
Yeah.
won't, we'll never talk bad about you again.
This is
Well,
going to
you
help.
never did to
keep us
begin
warm.
with.
Y'all can wear, yeah, when you guys are freezing, y'all can wear that.
This
There
is
you
going to
go.
help.
Absolutely. I'll wear all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same time.
Yeah, that's what oh heck yeah, put that under that.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
So what's the weather?
It's
Don't
gonna
we
be
just check?
34.
It won't be the overnight load. Won't be that during the game. It'll
During
be a
the
little
game.
higher than that.
Okay.
Last week
Yes.
when I left Havelock, it was 23 on the field.
No, that's
Yeah.
cold.
Yeah, there was not much about me that wasn't freezing.
Yeah.
I
And
know,
I kept taking my gloves off to shoot pictures and stuff. So.
Right.
just real quick, the back of the T-shirt says, "Believe in yourself, and you will be unstoppable."
Yeah, that's right.
Go Cards!
Well, we're gonna be unstoppable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
love
get a
that.
lot of kick out of it. We got a radio program, but we have a Facebook page, and
Yes.
I post pictures every week. I'm
Oh
recording.
yes,
yeah.
yes.
I have
Yeah, I
a
know.
blast with the pictures.
Yeah. I know you were a big fan, and so
Mhm.
thought we'd bring you a little swag this morning.
Well, we do
That's
appreciate
awesome.
that.
Yeah.
And
Do you
then
know
we-
I still have my graduation gown and hat
I bet you wear it in a house, don't you?
to bed?
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
I love my
So what
Cardinals.
color was? Because sometimes they went with red, and sometimes
red.
white. Yeah.
Red with
Yeah.
the white collar.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the gold tassel.
hmm
I don't remember that far back.
Let's
I
just go with you wore red.
Well, my
Let's
wife,
just say-
was a cardinal,
Uh-huh.
and
I thought you
of course,
said. I thought,
Yeah,
Once
she
a
was a
cardinal,
cardinal.
always a cardinal.
oh
that's
yeah,
right. Yes.
there's a lot of you know. My wife, she was a cardinal. Of course, my brother-in-law, several of my folks that are in my family.
Mhm.
Right.
But most of my side of the family was on the White Oak side because
Yeah,
Right.
that's where we lived,
Right.
So yeah, but to have a White Oak and a Cardinal Mary.
Mm.
You know, that
Makes
was,
it tough on that
That's right.
game in opening.
I've got a niece who married. She's a Carolina freak.
uh-huh.
Her husband is state,
Oh yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
curious.
and on their everything they got is split.
Mhm.
I mean, they got all of that
family.
bipolar stuff going
Right.
around. So it's
Well,
just kind of fun.
I will say, Dr. Collins, that White Oak had a fabulous year this year
Oh,
in
my
football.
God.
Oh, are you
Yes.
kidding?
Look,
They
when,
did.
when they
Yeah.
played Jacksonville, Rayford to tell you, him and I
We
and
were like,
Robbie, we
we
were
got a problem.
pacing up there in the media
We
booth,
had,
and we were just like, oh my God, oh my God.
Several of our football team, Richlands.
Yeah,
Richlands had
Richlands.
a really good year this year, and what it did as
Yeah,
well.
Richlands has been gone for
Yeah.
about 10 years or
Yeah,
so.
they
hasn't it?
really,
Yeah.
they
Missing
really
in action.
came back and they made the
know
state
it.
playoffs. So that was,
Mhm.
that
Yes,
was outstanding.
Richlands too. I mean,
Yeah.
congratulations to our high school football
Yeah.
teams.
And we celebrated another Cardinal at the last board meeting. She won the state championship in golf.
She did. I was
Yeah.
there. Yes.
Yeah, thank you for being
Oh,
there. by
no
the way.
problem.
Yeah.
I love doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that young lady, she's gonna get a scholarship out of that.
Oh, yes.
Mm.
Talented.
And golf. And these are sports that we don't really talk about.
No, they're kind of, you're your own competitor.
Right.
It's not a team type of
Mhm.
sport necessarily.
Right.
You're competing with yourself.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, thank
That is
goodness for
good.
Chris Miller, the sports editor with the Daily
He
News.
doesn't
'cause
miss a trip.
He
does he?
brings us these stories that we
Mhm.
can talk about.
he is something. I really like
He
Chris.
is the best.
And he's been doing it a while too.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
He's a White Oak graduate
yeah, he
too.
is.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
A Viking.
But he's at the Cardinal games when he can.
Yes, and
Yeah.
he'll be there.
Yes, he's coming.
Is he coming?
Yes, he said he's coming.
We'll have a.
He's got
Can we
nowhere else
bring
to be
hot
that day.
chocolate? I need to
I don't
find
know
out.
yet. We got to find out.
We
Thank
got.
you for the Cardinals and the folks over here at Jacksonville. They do their wanding on because they got a niece, so they have to wand.
That's
too.
right, right.
So they do their wanding and everything. But I
They
come
let us
in.
bring hot
Yeah.
chocolate.
I come in and I got a big 32-ounce Yeti stainless steel thing that keeps hot
Right.
chocolate hot
Unstand, yeah.
until the next morning. If you
I
don't
had
drink
one
it all.
about
right.
strip search Rachel last Friday
They
night.
got upset with Ray.
Oh yeah.
They had a
Yeah.
whole contingent of, I don't know what was going on, but they had deputies there, multiple deputies there with dogs.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you can probably like that again at
They're going to have
7:30.
prison guards
Yeah.
at Fayetteville.
They're going, it's tight. And they have the weapons
Yeah, you
detection
want to
Yes.
system.
Sure.
Well, this is what a lot of our high schools are using now is the Evolve system. So you go through, it's a weapons detection, not necessarily metal.
Mhm.
And you go through, and if it dings on you, then you get pulled out of line, and then you get wand.
They're
That's
gonna wand me.
usually
I just
so.
tell them, just get the
Go
wand
ahead
ready
and
here.
get it out. Yeah.
And I will say, I appreciate what Onslow County is doing. Like, we have to go through that to go to the
Oh, yeah,
ball game.
they do it fine.
I appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
I think it's a
a
good
little
thing.
inconvenient, but
No,
you know,
it's not to
safety.
me.
If you're gonna have, you can't have it both ways, right?
Let me tell you what's
Right.
inconvenient,
Yeah.
being on the bad side
Oh,
of
yeah.
a situation.
That's
Right.
exactly right.
I don't want to be there.
I think the schools have done a lot of tremendous things the past couple of years in
Yeah.
upping the security and
Yeah.
safety for the students.
After
So,
9/11,
great
I
job.
propose that the first thing they do is when you arrive at the airport, the first thing you do is you're going to go in some area. Everybody going to get
Mhm.
naked. Everybody going to be furnished the same hospital
Right.
type of
Yeah.
attire.
Well, let me
And the
say,
they
rest
don't
of
want to
it's gonna
see
be
me
checked.
naked. Yeah.
no, they don't want
Not
to see
happening.
you naked. They
Yeah.
will give you a little gown to put on, hospital type thing.
Mm-mm. Not
And
doing
what
any.
about our airport?
yeah,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It is really
Yeah.
nice out there. Yeah.
Yes.
We got a lot of good stuff going in Onslow County.
Sure do.
Um,
Really
now,
do.
let's speaking of which,
Yeah, let's-
we talked about how great the schools are doing
Mhm.
athletically.
Yeah.
That's not the only reason they're there. But
Absolutely.
honestly, and I remember way back when,
Mhm.
there were a lot of dropouts back in the day.
Mhm.
I know of a lot of wonderful football players that stayed in the school system because of football. They had a reason for being.
Yes.
And I was told this by these
Mhm.
guys.
Mhm.
Only reason I do this is because the only reason I study because they won't let me play football if I get kicked out or if I fail.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
said, well, good.
Yeah,
And
you try to get a hook for a kid.
Yeah,
and
so it was-
whether it's
it was-
athletics or
So if athletics
Yeah.
will do that, I'm good with that.
absolutely.
And before we get going, because I know it's going to happen,
Mhm.
you, Kelly, Lee, me, everybody is concerned always about
Mhm.
safety on the
Sure.
field.
Right.
Football
Oh yeah.
is a contact sport. I don't
It is.
care how much it's a contact sport.
Right.
You're going to make contact if you play football. Making contact you got all this protective gear, but sometimes there are things that happen that, people get hurt.
Sure.
Mhm.
Absolutely. It happens.
Do we do okay in that arena?
As far as I know, of course, I'm not updated on every injury that occurs, on the field. But as far as I know, we hadn't had any major types of injuries. So, but if we do, we have first responders. We're required by law
Yes.
to have athletic trainers and first responders on the fields, and so we do the best we can.
Yeah.
When we know. We do the concussion protocols just like at the university and professional level. So we have to do those things. And I think all of that is put in place for a reason. During the summer, we have to make sure that we're taking care of the kids and so far as the heat.
Yes, right.
And
You start early.
hydration. We have to make sure there's things in place to protect our student athletes. And I think our coaches that we want to do that, right? I mean,
Sure.
we just want to take care of people. So yeah, there's a lot of things that are probably in place that wasn't in place when I was playing football at White Oak High School. But it's not to say that people didn't care about us. They did. It's just you've got things in place now that kind of force you to make sure.
Well, you learn
That's
too
everything.
with
That's
over
right.
time.
Over
There's
time,
studies all the time, studies within the school system, but studies outside. There are professional folks out there that are studying injuries
Oh,
and
yeah.
just to see what we
Yeah.
can do to safeguard
Yeah.
our folks. We do have a caller. Hey, Robin, what's up? County Commissioner, Vice Chairman.
Hey, hey, thank you. Good morning. I don't want to take up much of your time, but Barry, I was shocked at the news, but not surprised. But I could not call you. I think Onslow County is losing a gem in you. I think what you've done for Onslow County, the friendship that you and I developed,
Yes.
the phone calls,
Yeah.
the phone calls of encouragement and stuff like that. I'm really sad to see you leave. I think you've been the best superintendent for this county. I know my wife absolutely loves you, adores you. She thinks you're the best. I think you're the best. And I really don't have anything negative at all to say about you. Everything's positive, and we're going to miss you, especially as a county commissioner. Working with the Board of Education.
Yes.
And you being the rock, so to speak, of the school system. And I got to say this, during the time that the DOE went through a lot of criticism and getting a lot of chastisement from certain people, you stood your ground with integrity. You stood your ground with your moral character. You didn't let it faze you. And I was really impressed with that. I already respected you, but my respect to you even went higher if that's possible. And I just wanted to say I'm really proud of you. I'm glad to call you my friend.
Yes,
And I'm
sir.
going to miss you, and I wish you would stay. But
Yes.
I understand. As a grandson,
Sometimes it's time to go.
For a long time, and I just want to tell you we love you. We wish you the very best and Merry Christmas. to you.
We love you too, Robin, and thank you so much for those kind words. I certainly don't deserve any of that, but I appreciate it. It reminds me, I did get a phone call yesterday from Jack Bright, and I hadn't heard from him in a while. And he was talking, and we were talking about some of the same things that Robin had mentioned. I think one of the things that people don't realize is over the last, I don't know, Robin, probably 8-10 years, the Board of Education and the county commissioners have worked very closely together to come up with a funding formula which is unique
Right.
across the state.
Uh-huh.
It just doesn't happen everywhere. And the way that came about was because of the relationships that were built with folks like Pam Thomas and
Yes.
Earl Taylor and Paul
Bless
Wiggins and
her. Yes.
Robin Knapp and Jack Bright and Paul Buchanan. Those folks really got in the room and had a conversation multiple times about how to make this work. And folks like Jeff Hudson and
Yes.
just coming together and working out a situation that would be good because we're taxpayers too. We want to make sure that we stay solvent through this, and it's not a one and done deal. is something that we can do year after year after year.
It's a business
And,
venture.
It is, and it's a long-term business venture.
You
And
know,
what-
and Barry, you said a lot, and you're absolutely right. But it wasn't. I appreciate that too. But let's get back to you, because it was because of you. You were the glue that kept everything together. You really were. And we, all of us on the board of commissioners, spoke and speak very, very highly of you.
Well, I
And
appreciate
it feels really
that.
good. It feels really good when you could sit there and pick up the phone and call you.
Yeah.
And it's just great.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, but it wasn't just me. It took all of us, and you had just as much to do with that as anyone. And I appreciate you saying that, but it was all of us working together.
All right,
And,
the kudos
great
are
team.
over.
Thank you.
The kudos are over now. Robin, are you going to give him the bad news, or am I?
What's that?
The county commissioners and the Board of Education have come together, and you're going to be an indentured servant until
That's
next year's
right.
budget. Until
That's
next
right.
year's budget is
You got to
complete.
stay, Robin.
Is that about? No, this is for you.
Oh, for me. Oh, okay.
You're going to stay until next year's budget is complete.
Yeah.
How's that, Robin?
That's perfect. Barry, I just wanted to say congratulations.
Well, thank you,
and,
sir.
Yeah, well
really proud of
deserved.
you, and I wish you the best.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. And I'll be calling you. You still got my number, so
Oh, yeah.
we'll be in touch.
All right.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you, Robin.
Yeah.
So
Oslo County Commission Vice Chairman.
I have a
He's the
question for
chairman
you.
of Vice.
So how does this has the search already started for a replacement? Like, are you guys going to hopefully promote from within? Like, what's the
How
plan?
can they fill those shoes?
Well,
No, but I would love to
Yeah.
see them promote
Yeah.
from somebody currently in the
Yes.
school system rather than hiring some outsider.
right.
That's just my opinion.
Right. All right.
We've got a lot of good,
There's a good talent there.
school system talent that they know our school system. I would love to see them.
I'll vote for
Fill
Dr.
that.
Barnes.
Okay, have you been doing some in-house prepping by any chance of one or more people?
I think we always do that.
We should.
I think
Right.
one of the things that builds a strong system is you have to cultivate within, and you cross train. I think that's important, that folks know how not only to do their job, but they know a little bit about the other people's jobs, right?
Okay.
So there's different divisions of the school system. It's not just, you got the academic side, but you also got the business side. And so you got finance, you got the operations, you also got HR and technology. We have a whole division of just
It's
technology.
not a one-year plan that you're looking at. You can't
Yeah.
just go look at this year's or last year's budget if you're somebody brand new coming
Right.
on board and figure out how to fix things in the county. No, this
Yeah.
is a long-term
It's a
process.
big business.
If you're not in it to win it, then you may as well not apply for it.
You need to be, I feel like you have to be vested in the
Mhm.
community. That's one thing. And it's not to say that somebody from the outside can't do that. But I do agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, they know
I
that
think there are
system better.
folks,
Right.
Yeah.
there are
Right.
folks within our district that can do this job a whole lot better than I can. And
We'll wait to see about that one. We'll
Right.
rate them, whoever it is.
Well, I have
I
a
We've
wish I
got
would have
some really
learned
good-
from you though too.
Yeah.
I mean, and I could think of a couple of people that come to mind right off the bat that I think should
Right.
apply. I mean, I don't know how this process works, but
Yeah.
Dr. Barnes, Brent Anderson.
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
there's quite a few.
both fine
Think,
gentlemen.
both would be excellent, and I can think of a few more. So, I mean, I just would love to see Onslow County hire somebody from here
Oh, I
versus
would-
some
would
else.
like to
I just
see
would.
that.
I mean, my kids are a product of the Onslow County school system.
Well-
My grandson is currently in the school system here.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I just think the ones that have been here, they know our system best.
Right.
It's just my opinion, though. It's
Well,
just my
the
No,
opinion.
I agree with you, Kelly, 100%.
Well, if you bring anybody in from outside, we get the final say.
Sure.
I need to ask them a question.
We had the final
Right.
say on several
Do like a
hirings.
public
County
interview.
meeting.
Like,
No, not the public. Me.
Well, I just say
I'll
have
get
a
to ask
special
one
board
question.
meeting, put them up on that in that little area, and have the public
Oh,
fire
yeah.
off questions that
Oh,
like
no.
interview them.
No, Kelly.
No.
We don't want to go there.
I only got one question. If they get to the final,
Mhm.
how do you pronounce RICHLANDS?
Oh my lord!
You're either going to win or lose.
Mhm.
Now we know how to pronounce it, don't we?
Mhm. It's Richlands.
Yes,
It is
sir.
Richlands,
If they
yeah.
call it Richlands, then you're out.
If
Yeah.
it's Richlands, they're probably not from here.
Uh-huh.
Right? Yeah.
Mhm.
You're right about that.
So that will be the
That's a good
Well,
final.
little things.
That'll be
do
the
they-
final question for them.
You know, a lot of us refer to Swansboro as the borough. A lot of people
Yes.
refer to the Sneads Ferry as the ferry.
Yeah,
like
that's right.
if you don't know, you don't know.
And it is. This is a big
Jacksonville is the
county.
Ville.
Yeah,
I mean,
both of those are fairly
yeah.
new terms.
Yeah,
by the
but
way,
they're still
but
used by
they
people
have-
that live
I've been
here.
calling Swansboro the borough for years.
Yeah, oh, same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ferry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple times a year, I try to get out and go visit the schools, and it's unbelievable how big this county is when you start
I was
driving
going
around.
to ask
It
you.
is.
I mean,
Yeah.
you go from Dixon to
That's
Swansboro,
huge.
and then go up in the northeastern part of our county, up White River, where I'm from, and then it takes a while to get around.
Yeah.
And it's land wise, it's a big area, and we've got 28,000 students and growing.
Did you ever
And-
think you would see the growth as it has occurred?
It's been phenomenal. But if you go back and look at and we have I think 64 years of his data, and it's about 300 kids a year. Some years it was 700, some years it was 100, but on average it's about 300 kids a year that we.
What is our military dependent versus the rest
It's
ratio
40
these days?
Okay, so our federally connected, which is
Yes.
military, but it's also folks that work on base,
Mhm.
but they're federally connected. It's 47%.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I think the military is probably about 30 some of that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, 47% are somehow connected to the
Back-
federal government.
Back in the day, I had a lot of kids graduating with me
Yeah.
in the class of 66. And most of them, I did not know until their senior year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They showed up in time to graduate from high school.
Right.
So we don't ever see them at
In
graduation.
67, there was no North Side, there was no White Oak,
Nope.
there was no, well, there
Nope.
was a White Oak, but it was
Not-
over at Tabernacle.
Yeah.
Right.
And there was no Southwest.
Nope.
Yeah.
No,
True.
didn't have any of
Very
that stuff.
true.
Yeah.
But even though, but the kids, they were from somewhere else.
Sure.
And I don't recall anybody that I started in those days. We didn't even
Mm.
have a junior high to begin with.
Right.
We got that on my first year.
Mhm.
Was the 8th grade. It was
So
7th.
Was it the old Newbridge Middle School building? Is that
The old Newbridge was the high school.
high school? Right.
And then the first year when I went to the 8th grade from Platte Irwin, that was the
Mhm.
first year there was a junior high. And the first year was
Right. The dragons.
actually at where the current high school is.
Okay.
The first year that thing opened, it was the junior high,
Junior high. That's right.
for 1 year.
Mhm.
Yes.
So I went to, in effect, that high school for 5 years,
5 years. Yeah.
8th through 12th grade.
That's right.
Well, I
That's
was
right.
lucky. I was a
remember that.
dolphin.
Northwoods Park.
That's right.
That's where I started teaching. at
Really?
Northwoods Park Middle School. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, 1989.
Mm.
I was way gone by then.
Well, I hauled
Way
kids on
gone.
a school bus over there to Northwoods Park.
Well,
Yeah.
I told myself I wasn't going to ask you anything controversial, but
Oh, yes,
I am
you
going
are.
to ask you something
Oh
controversial.
gosh.
And I want you to clear up something.
Mhm.
So hopefully this will put this to bed
Hopefully I
before
can.
the new, the school board meetings become ridiculous again. Oslo County Schools
That's the
does
truth.
not, I'm going to use the word govern, I don't know if that's the right word, private and homeschool kids, correct?
That is correct. There's probably some connection because even legally,
Mhm.
there are some things that even private schools can ask for.
Yes, but you can't tell a private school how to run their
No,
school.
absolutely not.
And-
But they can ask for some services from the public schools.
And that's,
right.
yeah, but, people are acting like that Onslow County schools should be funneling money into the private schools or governing. And I'm like, that's not their job.
Yeah, no,
No.
that's the state.
Well, you
right?
don't funnel
Yeah.
money to anybody.
Well,
You just pay for your
We need to
bills.
funnel money to
there's this
ourselves.
thing called opportunity scholarships. that
Yeah.
has been sort of controversial.
Yes.
Let me just say right out of the gate, I am not against school choice.
Mhm.
I believe parents should have the right to do whatever they
I
want to
agree
do.
with that.
I do too.
However, I do have my issue with the opportunity scholarship is about transparency and oversight. When someone is given, taxpayer dollars, I feel like there needs to be some oversight of that. And I'll give you just an example of something that has happened and probably will continue to happen until something's changed about it. Let's say that a parent applies for an opportunity scholarship, receives it, and they use that money to go to a private school here in Onslow County. That student at some point, quite often, they return to Onslow County schools. Well, there's really no tracking device that's been put in place to track that money back to Onslow County. So, so the example would be, let's say a student received a $7,000 scholarship to go to one of our private schools. And then at Christmas time, the parents and the kid decide, you know what, for me, I want to go back to Onslow County schools. And they do. Well, there's no transfer of that money to Onslow County schools. So we receive money based on our ADM, which is our average daily membership. And there's a formula for that. But it's about $7,000 a student that we get from I think it's 6,800. Anyway, that's where we get our money from. The state is based on that student head count. So when that student comes back, though, after the second month, we have no way of tracking that money back to us.
Well, why not something as simple as the monthly installment plan? I mean, come on, guys. They've got the kids in school at this time, at the end of the 6-week grading period.
Right.
Going into the second 6 weeks, we'll send you another check at the end of that. And if you don't, if he's not in that school, we're going to send it to whatever school he's in.
Right.
Does that not work?
Well, that is certainly a good point.
I'm not saying that
monthly billing.
That I have the answer to that. I'm just saying that's something that happens. The other thing about it would be when you compare public schools, we have to take the EOGs and the EOCs and we have to share all of that information with our public about how our kids are doing, how our students are doing. And the private schools don't have that. They don't have that. Now, some of them may do it on their own, but they're not required to make those things known to people.
So you're telling me
it's hard to compare the private school and the public school, how their students are doing academically when they're not being tested using the same kinds of tests.
So you're telling me that all of these reports that I constantly read that said my private school ranks higher than going to the public school system.
Well, it ranks higher by what?
Right, that's always the question I ask too.
Right.
If based upon whatever, how do we know this?
Well, that's my point. Is we don't know because they're not taking the same test.
Gotcha.
Right. So
go to private school and I'll be smarter.
And a little,
what do you base that on?
If it's a private school and they're not receiving state dollars, then fine.
That's fine. Do what you want.
But if you are receiving state dollars, then I think you should have to report using the same measuring stick.
So do I.
Yes.
Absolutely. It
I
should
agree
be
with
some
that.
kind of tracking.
Yeah.
Okay. We've heard over the past year or two, bullying was number one. We hear about.
Oh, sure.
Bullying is not treated the same at X school as it is at Y school. This kid at this school was doing the same thing this kid over here did, and this kid got punished for it. This kid was, don't do it again. Is that a common complaint that you're hearing?
I don't know that it's a common complaint, but it is one of the things you can't go, well, I can't from a central office level govern 42 schools to that degree so we have to allow our schools to work within the policies to create their own handbooks for their schools. And each school is different. You know as well as I do, and you've been in many of our schools. Each school is different. Each school has its own culture. Each school has its own area of the county, and they know the people in that county, in that area, and in that school. So each school improvement team, they work with the principal and they come up with the consequences for, the discipline. And I would say across the board, it's very similar across the board. But you're not going to get, if you do something at one school, back, let's say chewing gum. Okay, let's use something real simple.
Mhm.
So chewing gum in Mrs. Smith's class at Dixon is going to be different than chewing gum in Mrs. Jones's class at Morton Elementary. They're going to be different. There's going to be different consequences.
Well,
for
teachers
that.
have their own rules inside
They
their
have
own
their own
classrooms.
rules.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
Ms. Hardison did. Ms.
And-
Brock did.
And you want that because you want your principals and you want your teachers to take ownership of the discipline. You don't want all of that coming to a central location and we're divvying out all the punishment. That is just you can't do that. So there has to be some level of you get to decide as a class. I know a lot of teachers at the beginning of the year, they'll have their students decide.
Oh, really?
Let's decide what the consequences are going to be for not doing your homework. What are the consequences? And the kids can come up with what those consequences are. So I think when it comes to major problems, and I'm talking a 10-day suspension or higher, that's when it comes to the office.
To the central
That's
system.
when we have to look at the policy and we have to make everything the same across the district as to how we apply the policy to those
A severe
egregious.
10-day suspension is
It's severe.
can be pretty impactful.
Yeah.
2 weeks off for measles and
Yeah.
mumps is a problem.
So
Especially when
that's
you're getting
the,
zeros every day.
and really that's the law. I'm talking about the North Carolina general statutes. A principal can suspend up to 10 days.
Mhm.
And really the superintendent, I have that is their school.
You don't even know about it.
That I don't even know about it.
Okay.
After it reaches 10 days and beyond, and now you're talking about drugs, you're talking about assault,
Weapons.
you're talking about weapons. I mean, these are severe situations. That's when it comes up to our office. Yeah.
I'm a student. I'm 7 years old. I walk in and I go bang.
Mhm.
How many days off am I going to get?
You-
I'm in third grade.
You're gone.
You're going to be 365 automatic, and then
365.
365.
I mean, I'm
And
talking about
then-
with your finger.
Yeah. Well, then also it's going to depend on, what do you do after the 365? And a lot of that's going to depend on law enforcement, mental health, their input into, how that took place. But my guess is that that student will probably never be in a traditional public school again. They will
Even
be
in the
receiving
third
some
grade,
type.
second grade, they're
Yes.
kidding. They see this on TV all the time.
Yeah.
Boy, there needs to be some re-education on a lot of kids that I'm
Yeah.
sure out
There
there.
need to
Yeah.
be more parents' involvement, parents
Uh-huh.
to be involved.
And I think you
because-
hit on it, Miss Lee. This is not a school issue. This is a societal issue. Obviously, when you talk about things like kids bringing guns to schools and those and the assaults and those kind of things, that's not. We didn't create that. The school system didn't create that. I'm not saying that the parents create it. I think it's just all of us working together. It's a community issue. It's our churches. I think our churches have to get more involved in to some of these situations because most people are somehow connected to some faith-based organization. And I know at our church, we try to do that, get involved with our youth and make sure that we're teaching them, how you're supposed to act in society,
Wonder how many teachers really go into like day one in the classroom, the first week of school,
Mhm.
and go in and say, listen, there are a bunch of things out here you probably don't understand. And because I've read stories about little kids just playing with each other like we used to do playing cowboys,
Mhm.
point your finger at them because you didn't have a pop gun
Right.
at the time. Point your finger at them, bang.
Yeah,
And explain it to them, but explain it to them why,
right.
because
Right.
somebody else feels threatened.
Sure.
I think that's what might be missing. It's not that you just pointed your finger at somebody. It's what how that other
How it's
person
received.
may have taken
Yeah, how it's received.
could have taken it.
But we also have to use common sense a little bit
Sure.
and, understanding that, kids are going to play Cowboys and Indians.
Yeah.
And, they're just going to do that. But you also have to talk to them about what that means and how that affects people. So,
And it's a shame too.
Yeah.
Well,
It's a shame it's gone that far.
I think a 7-year-old doing it has a whole different connotation than a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
doing it.
Sure.
Yeah.
That
Because
has been associated or has contact with or knows folks or what a gang, because
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
common
Exactly,
gang thing
right.
too.
It is.
Oh,
yeah.
The gang
Sure.
signs, yeah.
Those
Sure.
are gang signs.
Mhm.
But the kids growing up at a very young age,
Mhm.
probably every year, need to have a day of come see. Let's just talk to Jesus about this situation, y'all.
Mhm.
We got to talk to Jesus. Come have one of those meetings.
Right.
This is the way it's going to be. You
Yeah.
can't do it.
Well, I got something to hit you up with.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
She
got-
doesn't
Can I
have
say
it.
something good
When is
first?
she leaving? Just real quick. So Friday, I was in a meeting with a group of people that we work on youth issues in Onslow County. So these are all professional people,
Right.
and we have data. So we have local school data, and one of the things that came up was one that the kids were surveyed and whatever, and that one of the things they said we have nothing to do, which we know is a common theme throughout the county anyway. Kids are always saying no, nothing to do. So we were like, okay, what can we have? What do we not have? We made a list, and somebody brought up something very interesting. So it is a policy, and I don't know if this is like a state policy or if it's Onslow County schools. I just don't know. Sixth graders typically cannot play sports.
Mhm.
And I think part of it's because they're new into the transition from elementary, into middle
Right.
school. But we thought about, why, if we got a group of individuals that, and some kids say we want, and one of the questions they were surveyed was, have you thought about, I think this was really geared more towards high school, but it could have been middle school. Have you thought about participating in an activity, but you didn't? And it was like a 40%. Like there's things we want, but we just don't do it. So we were like, why? And that's where that whole being in sixth grade, you can't play sports.
Mhm.
Somebody brought up a really cool idea, and they said, what if we started a sixth grade league where they just play the other, there's seven
Yeah.
middle schools or whatever there are, 6, whatever there are, they play each other to kind of get them used to trying to balance grades with sports, but gives them something to do, keeps them out of trouble. Has anybody ever floated that idea?
Sure. We actually do something, and we work closely with the Onslow County Parks and Recreation. We probably need to do a better job of reaching those sixth graders in particular, because when you get to the middle school, that's when kind of the interleague
Yeah.
sports
Correct.
start at
Yes.
seventh grade,
Seventh grade, yes.
seventh and eighth grade. But we probably need to do a better job of when the sixth graders come to the middle school, introducing them to our county parks and rec programs. They have all kinds
They
of
do have a
programs
lot of things, yeah.
Yeah.
for these kids to do, and all up, you've got the what is it, the football league that we have with the
I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yes,
the-
yeah.
What is that? T-ball?
No, they have a
Midgets are
football.
good.
it's the-
Yeah.
I have a client
Yeah.
that plays on it. I know who you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Right,
It'll
right.
hit me when I leave what the
T-ball
name
is
of it
younger.
is.
Right. Yeah.
both my sons played in that league, and so there are things out there. It's not necessarily school sponsored.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
Sixth grade, go play the middle schools, but in essence, it really is the same thing, because you have them all over the county, and they end up playing some of the same kids that they're going to play at seventh grade and eighth grade.
What I'm looking forward to, as much as anything else in the school system of the future,
Mhm.
in the nearer future,
Mhm.
is the advantage that our school students at age second grade, I think, are going to be able to learn to swim.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good.
That was something that we've been talking about that for probably 10 years.
I don't have
And
any idea
it
how
looks
many.
like it's coming to
It is.
fruition.
It's coming.
It's coming.
I don't have any clue how many young people who never learned to swim that I went to watch them be recovered or participated,
Right.
or near, or that some of them were rescued, thank
Mhm.
God. But so many
Yeah.
kids who never learned to swim die.
Yeah.
One's
Yeah.
too many. But over the years, I've seen it. Not all from around here,
Right.
but they didn't
Right.
learn to swim in other areas. Even worse, when they come down from Raleigh, they've never been
Yeah.
anywhere but
and we live on the coast. And
Yeah, we're a little bit of water
we've
out
got-
there.
We've got water everywhere around here. And so, yeah, I think it's a great thing.
I think it is wonderful.
I think it will be, it's, we do have some high school swim teams, but
Yes.
they're having
Where
to
can
go-
they go train?
Yeah, they usually go out on the base. And there's
Yeah,
a place over in,
Which the parents can't go
Right.
most of the time. You can't get on there.
yeah. So we're really looking forward to
Right.
to seeing that at the YMCA, and that was again a collaborative effort.
It was. I'm glad.
We had to come together as a community, school system, county commissioners, city. So everybody was really involved in that, and it took a little while, but I think we're at a point. As a matter of fact, there's a meeting coming up here in the next couple of weeks. We're going to be meeting over at the YMCA
Okay.
building to
Nice.
kind of kick off
Nice.
sort of a pre-groundbreaking kind of thing. That's
excellent.
and I have to give kudos to Billy Sewell. That
Oh,
was one of the
absolutely.
things.
Yes.
He got behind that one like
really,
a pit bull.
he
Looked
really
good.
got behind it, and
It
and
took
saw
somebody like
through.
him.
Yeah,
Well, I have a compliment and then I have a question. First, I want to compliment the schools. I went with Kelly the last couple of years judging on that red ribbon contest.
yes,
The schools, the cleanliness, they were so orderly.
Mhm.
I mean, the floors were shiny. I every school I walked into, I was like, my
Well, I
gosh.
thank you so much for saying that, because those
Yes.
folks don't get enough.
They don't.
Those
Oh,
custodians on
compliments.
point.
Well, I'm gonna
They-
tell you
yeah,
what,
they do a
every
really
single
good
school.
job.
Like, what was it? Was it Claire? I asked her. I said, "Have you just recently?"
Yeah, it was
painted?"
Claudio when you said that.
She
yeah.
goes, "No, it's been a while. You would never know." Every school, and then the phrases that they would put up on the walls,
Very positive.
that's
Yeah.
very positive. I
Mhm.
mean, I was just so impressed with every school we went
Yeah.
into, and have been, and with the way the schools are doing. But my one question is, if you had to pick one, it's probably going to be hard. What do you feel like has been your greatest accomplishment as serving as superintendent?
Wow, that's the first time somebody's asked me that.
Really?
And gosh, I really got to think about that one. I don't know. I'm more of a relational. I'm kind of a. I'm more of an,
he's just
I'm more of an
answer this
intro- I'm more of an introvert than people think. I really
I can tell.
prefer one-on-one conversations. So I think it's probably the relationships that I have been able to build over the years,
Right.
and I think that's probably, if I had to say, this is the thing that would kind of encapsulate
Mhm.
who I am and my superintendency. But listen, the credit goes to everybody, to all the people around me. I cannot
he's
do
just
it. I
gonna give
cannot do
everybody
it.
He's just not going to
But I
give it.
say
What do we
this,
even
Lee,
need
to
him
your
for?
question.
He is just
You know-
not going to admit that he
Well, you got to
was-
have good folks.
Yes,
You
you
gotta
do.
have
I
good
agree
folks
with
around.
that.
But Dr. Collins has also created a atmosphere where it encourages the employees to seek further education. At the
Yeah.
meeting I was at the last
Yeah.
board meeting, all those teachers got up that had attended that academy or whatever.
Yes.
There was a whole big group of them.
It's
Um,
getting better.
And
It's
he has
getting better.
encouraged the employees to seek that extra education
Mhm.
and get those certifications. And I mean, you have to have, a teacher's not going to do it if they don't feel, appreciated and encouraged by
Supported, right.
the upper management. So I think you have fostered that. I mean, we've got teachers going for their master's degrees
Sure.
and some going for their doctorate and
Right.
getting these extra certifications and attending these workshops. And that's after teaching in a classroom all day.
Right.
So, I mean,
Right.
kudos to the school system for creating this environment where it makes people want to
Right.
move up and,
Yeah.
and
Well,
get
I have a
more
question
education.
for you
We do
We do have
from
a caller too, but go
all
ahead.
right, a listener, and I know for a fact that she's a Jacksonville High School graduate.
Yeah, go
Because
Cards.
we were the same graduating class. She wants to know, how have you handled class size in all subjects?
How have we handled class size in all subjects? I think it's done more by grade level. We have two formulas that are used by the state.
Right.
There's a formula that is used to determine how many teachers we are allotted, And then there's rules about class size at certain grade levels. K through 3, there are very strict rules about
Imagine.
what you can have. I'm going to just throw out some numbers, but let's say kindergarten is 17, first grade maybe 18, 19 at second and third grade. So there's numbers that you have to stay below those numbers in each individual class. And then there are numbers that you have to stay below in terms of the number of teachers across the district. So at fourth and fifth grade, it opens up a little bit. So what you'll see if you go into an elementary school, you'll typically see the numbers lower at the lower grades, obviously. And then at the fourth and fifth grade levels, they kind of bump up a little bit. But that's because, that's how we're funded.
Right.
We're funded that way. We're also funded similarly at the middle school level, 6 through 8. You get so many teachers because of the number of students that are in that school. But then you also have to make decisions about, all right, what are we going to offer kids at the middle school based on the number of teachers that we're allowed? So those are some of the decisions that you have to make. For instance, are you going to have some of your CTE programs, which are like your culinary arts, your gaming, some of the classes that aren't the traditional, math,
Right.
language arts, social studies,
Right.
science. Those are kind of your core areas. But what other things are you going to offer? You're going to offer foreign language at the middle school, or you're going to, what things are you going to be able to do? And those things are based primarily on how many teachers we get for the number of kids that are at the school. But we also then have to chip in locally paid teachers. So we do not get enough from the state
Right.
to do what we're doing.
Right.
And we have to kick in local money to provide some of the services because it's the right thing to do. And it's all about opportunity. And I think the sooner that we can provide kids, what are the things out there that they can get involved in and be a part of, they can start tracking the things that they are interested in. So what you want is by the time they get to be a senior in high school, they have a plan. They have a pathway. And listen, those things, as well as I do, when you're 17, 18 years old, most people don't know exactly what they want to do, but they know maybe what areas they don't want.
Oh, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I did that and about 5 other different things career-wise.
Yeah, I would really.
like me.
I didn't have a stick to it.
I would love to take the three of you skill center
Oh, we've been there.
and show you some of the things that's going on now. It is unbelievable.
Yes.
I didn't
I was
go back
going to
there
ask
when
you
it-
about
I
that.
haven't
But
been there when they were doing it.
do we still have that phone call?
We do have a caller. Good morning. Who's this?
Hey, what's y'all's favorite breakfast meal to have on your specials weekend breakfast?
Oh, my favorite breakfast meal for weekend breakfast?
Yeah, like on your special weekend breakfast. You have your normal breakfast, obviously, that you have during the week or whatever, and you go into work and everything. But and you got probably one day you're gonna have a cleaning up or whatever, but you're gonna have that special day.
Broiled
where you just
lobster.
got the whole day to yourself. You make whatever you want there for the breakfast.
I like lobster. I can eat it for breakfast, and I have.
Well, that's quite decadent, sir. What about the other ones there?
Okay, ladies, you have a
What-
special breakfast you
What's your special
Would kill
breakfast
for?
that you have on your?
My
Special
special
breakfast
breakfast is going to Golden Corral and getting
Oh,
a
there
little
you
bit
go.
of everything. So there you go.
that way I take care of lunch and dinner.
Other than that, I don't
breakfast.
generally
You
cook.
You don't eat
What about-
breakfast?
I don't
What about
either.
the guest there? The superintendent, the guest there. What's his
Dr.
special
Collins,
breakfast
do you
that
have
he
a particular breakfast you like that you can only get on special occasions, maybe
Well,
weekends?
it's probably going to change after I retire
Yeah, you're
because
gonna
I'll
cook.
probably get up a little later. But early in the morning, I'm not a big breakfast eater early in the morning
Me
because
either.
I can't do it. So I usually grab a bagel or something like that, a little
That's not very
energy
special.
bar.
That's not a very special.
Okay, you're in
breakfast. Gotta
Homestead.
think-
You're in Homestead, Florida. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. What do you? What's your favorite breakfast, and why are you asking the question? Just curious.
My favorite special breakfast. I like to eat ass.
Okay, I kind of felt like that was
I
going to
knew-
go
I knew it
there.
was coming.
So,
Mhm.
to time, every now and then you'll get a jerk.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Yeah, you know what?
Rayford's always quick with the button. So,
If you see me with the phone call on and my hand's always there.
yes.
I kind of
Yeah.
was reading your facial
Well, I knew what
expressions,
was
and you
coming
were
since
kind
he
of
asked
sad.
that question.
Yeah, I kind of have
It's
that
kinda
feeling
sad.
too. But
Yeah,
anyway,
it's
I've
kinda
had
sad.
There are jerks in every corner of the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
I
And a
had
few
somebody
of them I've
else.
had to, and I had to have some, when I get them one-on-one, I can have
Yeah.
discussions with them.
Yeah. Now, before I forget,
Mhm.
I want to have a conversation with you, maybe privately,
Okay.
about Varnum Town
Ooh,
and
down.
what happened down there. Because
Oh.
I was listening. Some guy has got a podcast, and he has some episodes, and I was listening to those episodes about Varnum Town, and this is down in
Brunswick County.
Brunswick County. Back in the 60s, 70s, maybe
Oh, it's
somewhere
just-
along there.
They've been doing lots of stuff down in Varnum Town
Yeah.
for years. Some of it involved,
Joy.
And your name came up in one of the episodes.
What?
Really?
Yes.
What is
yes.
Varnum
I think it's
Town?
episode 4.
Rick, I gotta check this out. Varnum Town?
There was some drug dealing stuff going on.
Oh, yeah, there were.
And
It was
Mr.
in
Rayford
the-
was, I
was
think
in
at
the
the time,
70s,
you were working with the news media
There
down
was.
there. Yeah.
There was I was news and prior law enforcement and also an auxiliary police officer that
Right.
nobody knew about at the time. So I was
Uh-huh.
still the heat.
All right.
And of course, customs guys, they always took me. They knew I could be there and be
Mhm.
trusted and everything else, as did DEA.
Mhm.
And we all kind of worked together. That was when the media and law enforcement actually worked hand in hand.
Yeah.
The only difference was news media didn't have to advise somebody of their constitutional rights, but
Mhm.
the media went after basically some of the same people that the law enforcement were going after, crooked politicians and drug
Right.
dealers and
Right.
bad people. So
Right.
if you worked hand in hand, you were pretty smart. I think probably the instance he's talking about is when I showed up in the middle of the night. And I got there, and the sheriff of Brunswick County was not there,
Mhm.
and it was his deputies that were there.
Uh-huh.
The feds were not there.
Mhm.
That's the reason I had not been there, but I had gotten a call from a payphone in like wee morning hours.
Mhm.
And I get there, and the chief deputy, who was a good friend of mine at the time, retired federal agent.
Mhm.
So we had worked together actually in Jacksonville on some federal things before that time.
Mhm.
So I'm sitting there. I said, "You got all these guys? What's going on?" He said, "Well, we got this dope here." And I said, "Okay, where's so and so sheriff's first name?" I said, "Where's he?" We didn't call him.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
I said,
These stories
Where-
could go on
where-
forever.
"Where's Pay at Customs?" He said,
Go on, Kelly.
"We haven't called him either."
Mhm.
What?
Yeah.
So we went around the corner and we had a chat. He said, "The sheriff told us not to work any more drugs.
Right.
We heard the word that the drugs were coming in. So we, half dozen of us, uniformed deputies, including him, the chief deputy,
Mhm.
they went down and they worked it. And they seized a bunch of dope and a
Mhm.
bunch of foreign nationals.
Right.
And they said, well, I said, "When are you going to call?" He said, "Could you call for us?" I go to a payphone and I place a collect call before the days of cell phones
Uh-huh.
in the middle of the night to a good close friend in DEA and a good close friend at Customs. I placed 2 collect calls to their houses.
How about that?
And they
Wow.
said, "What? What are you doing there?" I said, "You're going to have to get here." Next thing I heard, no sirens. They didn't come that way, but those cars that they drove were wound up.
Yeah.
And they came
Well, I'll
down.
tell
The
you
sheriff
what's
was
smart.
indicted.
Yeah.
2 Marine fisheries officers were
Was he?
indicted.
Yeah.
And the sheriff went away. And then the
Mhm.
sheriff, after that point in time, I called him one day. He was under indictment. I said, so-and-so, I said, "I'd like to come down and talk to you." He said, "I'm going to go to Myrtle Beach a lot because you got a bureau down there. And you know, I suggest you take a route other than coming through Brunswick County to get
Oh,
there." And I said,
yeah.
so-and-so, Sheriff, you know,
I'm checking this
you
out.
really know better than that. And you really don't want to play those kinds of
Varnum
games,
Town, yep.
do you?
I'm checking this out later today. I've
Yeah,
already got your
it-
page.
When you start listening to those episodes, they'll mention Rayford Brown.
All right,
And
I'm going to check them out today.
Reason I still
I'll
stay,
tell you one of the,
reason I still stay protected.
that's good. That's right.
Do
I'm
we still
sorry.
have Joy on the phone?
I don't. Yes,
Joy?
we do. Joy, I got carried away. Joy, you there?
Thanks, Joy.
You get carried away, and you don't get no more hot chocolate in Fayetteville. I'm gonna make sure no chocolate
Tell him, Joy. You
is
tell him.
allowed.
Hey, Joy.
You know, you have put me here listening to you. Blah 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 blah.
Well, Joy, can I do you?
Honey,
I was trying to get to you, Joy.
If I tell you one thing, would it appease you just a little bit? I've got your name spread across the front of my house in lights.
It actually does say Joy.
It says
It
Joy.
does. I saw it. Yeah.
So, Joy, that's
Yeah.
in your honor, Joy.
you so very. I love
Thank you for calling, Joy.
Oh, your attitude just changed, didn't it? What's on your mind, Joy?
I want to first of all that jerk they called. I just want to let him know that the FBI is already on his trail, so he better stop making calls.
The thing is, we had his number. It's okay.
Yeah, we got it.
But anyway, I wanted to congratulate Mr. Barry Collins on his retirement,
Mhm.
and I want everyone to know I know him, which maybe he doesn't want to say he knows me, but anyway.
Is this Miss Joy
Yeah.
Weathington?
Yes,
Okay,
Yes, it
yeah.
is, Barry.
I know.
The one
We
that
go
keeps
way
Don-
back.
the one that
Yeah.
keeps Donald straight.
That's right. That's right. We're very close church going members.
He
Nice.
is done a fantastic job for our schools. His shoes will be replaced, but they will not be big enough to be the shoes that he has worn these past years.
They can put a sock in
Not
it.
only, not only he and his family do so many things that people don't even realize. He's got a wonderful family, faith-based family, and just I can't say enough about what they do without anything that people don't know. And I know that it has been some rough rides on his journey in that chapter of his life, but now he's ready that he can just enjoy it and take that free ride and just go on and live his life with his family and that grandbaby. And I've watched his wife and them and the children grow up
Mhm.
from the birth. And I just want to thank him what he has done for our county.
Oh, he's-
Some people have their regrets, or don't like it, but too bad, so sad.
Get out of it.
Exactly. But I do want to thank you personally, Barry, for who you are, what you stand for, and what you have contributed to our schools.
Well, thank you, Miss Joy. I appreciate that.
Joy,
And,
thank you so much for the call. And I don't have to keep my finger on the trigger. People that call that I don't know I do. So
Spotlight on my name.
I got your name and lights on the front of the house. What else can you ask for?
Make it bright. You know what Joy stands for?
Probably the
Jesus
Pledge of
first.
Allegiance.
Jesus first,
Others.
others
And
second,
yourself.
and yourself. That's
Oh,
right.
nice.
Merry Christmas.
like that.
Merry Christmas, Joy. I'm sure we'll hear from
Thank
you
you,
You'll
again.
Joy.
never forget me. When I'm
That's
long gone, you'll remember that name.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Have a
Thank
good
you,
one.
Miss
Thank
Joy.
you,
Samantha,
Barry. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Samantha, it's been good talking to you. Have a good one.
Yeah.
Leave her alone.
Okay. Got a final one for you here.
Okay.
I was, it comes out at some point in time in people's lives how
Mm.
you were probably sexually abused at some point in time. I was in the first grade by my first grade teacher.
No way, really.
What are you?
What are we doing?
What are
right
we
now?
doing?
I gotta
Mrs.
leave.
Bender,
What's happening?
every day when we left school to go home,
Uh,
she kissed every one of us on the
How
forehead.
about
Oh my
Okay.
gosh!
Catherine Bender.
Yeah.
Can't do that nowadays.
Cannot do that now. As a
Can't do-
teacher, I
it's
wouldn't do that at
That's
all.
what's wrong.
That's what's wrong with this world.
Yeah.
I
That
agree.
was the sweetest thing.
Well, there's still hugs going around.
There
I can
are.
tell you,
Yeah.
particularly the element. My daughter
Mhm.
Reagan, she's a second grade teacher over at Richlands, and she says every day when the kids line up to go by, she hugs every one of them.
good
Well,
for
for
her.
some of them, that's the only hug they get.
Yep.
Yeah.
The only thing
So
I
sad.
remember is the threat of a paddling from Lewis Sewell. So I was
There was
traumatized
no
for life
threat.
the rest of my
my.
There was a guarantee on that one.
It was
Oh,
an
yeah.
April Fool's joke, and I just happened to be the one they picked. I was traumatized.
Yeah, that's
Oh, poor
traumatic.
baby.
Yeah.
You see Lewis Sewell coming down the hallway at Northwoods Park with a paddle on his hand, you'd be traumatized too.
I think say go, Lewis, go. Lewis.
I'm still traumatized.
Nothing wrong with a little fear.
Speaking of which,
Yes.
Coach Andy, back in the day, you remember him, Coach Andy? Hey, he was a football coach in the '60s, and he was the PE teacher too. But in freshman PE, oh my Lord, the boys get into the locker room, taking the showers after PE, and they start to cut up. One day they were cutting up, some of them popping towels at each other. Here he comes through the door with a Board of Education, a wet Board of Education on wet skin.
Oh yeah.
With holes in the paddle went a long way to making an impression.
Oh yeah.
Literally an impression. So,
Yeah.
whap, whap, whap.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
Dr. Collins, you've done great. You continue
Thank you,
to.
sir.
Fabulous.
You will
superintendent.
be. You will be talked about forever and ever, I'm sure.
Well,
And you'll probably be
about
called for by future generations. Say, listen, I've got this little problem here. What would you do?
Yeah. Well, I had to do that with, and I still call Ron Singletary to this day. As a matter of fact, last week I talked to Dr. Singletary. To me, he's
a good guy.
He's the
Yeah, he's great.
he's the one, and of course Kathy Spencer. You know, she did it for a long time, and I look to her on a fairly regular basis to kind of bounce things off of. And we've got some really great superintendents across the state that I talk to from time to time. I really think we're going to be in great shape. Our county, our school district, public schools are in great shape right now. Financially, academically, our test scores are up. The school board is in much better shape now
Yes.
than it was a few months ago, and so it's a good time for me to go. And I had this conversation with the previous board members, some of the board members, I was really trying to retire last January, and because of the situation, they asked me privately if I would stay, and I told them I would, to get through this
Turmoil that was happening at the time.
and now that has passed, and so we're in really good shape. We've got some really good internal candidates that I know will be applying, and we've also got others, outside. And the school board is going to do their due diligence on this.
First piece of advice I will offer whoever replaces you: don't screw this up.
Well, I feel like you have a really good, strong school board coming in that has just got sworn in last week. And I think that hopefully the turmoil over the last year or so at the school board meetings is done.
Yeah.
And the people have gotten tired of getting up there and acting like fools.
Yeah.
So, but
It'll be better.
I think you've got a great school board. I think the voters did a good job putting in who they have picked, and I think it's going to be good.
Yeah,
Those who don't cut the mustard going to have to leave.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we're in really good shape. All the board members now that, and we've already met a couple of times, and they seem to be coming together as a unit, better than before. And I think Albert Garvey is our kind of our lead chairperson. He's
I was
doing
happy
a
to
great
see
job.
him as chairman. Yes.
And Bradley Williams, our vice chair, is doing a great job. And of course, Bill Lanier is a tremendous asset to the
He brings
Michelle
a lot of
Howley and
knowledge.
Suzanne
Yes.
Long. They do a great job.
Yes, Philip Williams having that
Philip,
He's going to be good.
safety and security side to it.
Yes,
he is such
the
a
law enforcement side.
good guy.
Yeah.
Philip,
Yeah.
We got a
is,
good mixture on the board.
We do.
So
Now, were you related to Delma?
My father's first cousin
really,
was Delma Collins. Yes.
Philip
and I
is
were
married.
in school from about the third grade on.
Yeah. So Delma's father, Ivy Collins,
Okay.
and my grandfather, Leroy Collins, were
Good Lord.
half brothers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Philip Williams is married to Delma and Vicky. No, not Vicky. Debbie Collins' daughter.
Yes.
And so that's why I brought that up, because Collins. I'm like, I know y'all are related.
Yeah. Yeah. So Delma and my dad, Art, Art Collins. He passed away in
Yes.
2013, but
I remember.
my
him.
dad worked at the old Rambler place
Yes.
for years, and then he worked with the sheriff's department the last 15 years.
We used to go up there as kids and get nabs from the machines.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That's
Yeah,
what
in the
we were
middle of the
talking
night,
about that
they
before.
used a crowbar.
that's right.
No, you could just walk right back in, walk in there and put a quarter in the machine.
Yeah.
Back then, they didn't lock doors.
Mhm.
Doctor, thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the
You-
opportunity.
You will deserve the
Yeah, it's been a
retirement,
pleasure.
and I'm sure you will take a day or two off, and then you're going to have to learn how to fish
That's right.
or golf.
Where can
Everybody
we take
says
you?
they're going to go fishing or golfing when they
Yeah.
retire.
Maybe a little both. I do a little of both.
Okay.
I'm not real good at any of it.
That
But
sounds
hey,
like me.
It's
Well, I'll just tell you, Wally, have you ever tried to eat those golf balls that you hit?
they
don't
don't
forget
taste
about that.
good. Yeah,
You can eat the fish.
right. That's right.
Any hobby
good
in
brain power.
particular that you look forward to having time for?
I like to get out in my shop. I got a little shop
Oh, really?
beside
Oh,
my
yeah.
house, and
I would
just
like
do a
that.
little woodworking. And
Nice.
I like to
Hold your fingers up.
Yeah, I still got my fingers.
Good.
Um,
Just checking fingers.
I call it tinkering. I like to tinker.
Well,
and
just so you
do
gentlemen know,
things.
and Rayford, go ahead and start yelling. The football game Friday night, no outside food and no backpacks. So both of you know now.
Mhm.
I'm putting a link on our page to buy tickets, but tell Robbie to leave her pocketbook at home.
I'm telling you, I'm going to bring a camel pack.
Even
Yeah.
even the clear little teeny pocketbooks they wouldn't let in
Yeah.
last week.
I'll
I'm
tell you,
dang, Fayetteville's rough.
Fayetteville 71st got a great football team.
Oh yeah,
they're really good.
Well, it'll be nice
But
for them to be number 2 in the region.
It will be. It will be. It'll be a great victory
Yes.
for the Cardinals.
I'm
It would
hearing
be.
a lot of stuff about the football team.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, the Cardinals were psyched last Friday night. They were psyched up from the minute I've been to a lot of Cardinal football games over the decades.
Mhm.
I do not recall one when they kicked off. The kickoff.
And it was fumbled, right? Yeah.
And it was fumbled
Yeah.
near the goal line.
Yeah.
Cardinals
The guy
picked it up.
He didn't run it in. He walked across the goal line with it. I'm like, really? Where's the flag? There's got to be a flag.
Something can't be
somewhere.
right here. Yeah.
Anyway,
That's
and
too
from there it was great.
Yeah.
It was great.
Havelock has been really good over the years.
Oh,
I remember
yes.
Wilbur Sasser was a football coach back in the day
Yeah.
at Havelock High School, and he's I think he's passed away now, but a great football program at Havelock.
I'll tell you what, if the fans that were at the Havelock last week show up at 71st, we had the full stadium.
Really,
The
Wow.
bleachers had the visitors bleachers. Of course, there are not as many of them,
Mhm.
but they were packed.
Mhm.
And look across the aisle there for the hometown people. There were big little patches here, little patches, lots of space in between these people.
Mhm.
Well, there's rumors of maybe the booster club for Jacksonville. Rumors. I can't confirm it. Of
Get her done.
getting some buses.
Yeah, well, we're
For
going to
people
drive.
say, when we find out, we'll let everybody know. We're going to
Right.
drive
Right.
ourselves.
We're driving
Right.
ourselves, and we're going to have some contraband with us.
Mhm.
Hot chocolate, somehow or
Why'd
another.
you explain that?
Little
I may have-
tailgate, huh?
We're going to stop and get some dinner. Oh, yes.
Well, it's
We're
been a
gonna go.
pleasure. And over the
Thank
years,
you.
I think I've done
A
this
bunch.
maybe 4 or 5 times,
Several,
and
yes.
you've always been very kind. So
Well,
I appreciate
I have no
that.
reason not to be kind.
It's easy to be kind to somebody who's been a pillar of the community.
Pillar of the community, pillar of
That's
the
right.
community, not polarizing, and somebody who's transparent.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Never ask you a question that you
Mhm.
couldn't answer
Mhm.
or wouldn't answer.
Mhm.
Well, one last
Well-
question.
There we
Oh,
go.
here
Here's
we
the
go.
first one.
I just
I
want
won't be able to
to.
answer this one.
No, you can't. I just want to know, once you're retired
Mhm.
and you're no longer there at the Board of Education meetings, are you going to like kick back on the couch with your feet up on the coffee table with your popcorn and glass of wine to watch these meetings? That's what a lot of us do.
uh,
We're like, here we go.
I probably will keep up with what's going
Right,
on.
I'm
right?
sure you
You
will.
will.
I'm not one to sit on the couch and just do nothing. So my plans are to kind of keep up with where things are and do more behind the scenes
Okay,
help
good.
for people.
Good.
So,
So, as a teacher, you remember your days as teaching, right?
yes.
So, the final question I'll give you is a test.
Mhm.
Don't you answer it because you didn't get it right the first time. How many
Always
sexes?
trick questions.
How many sexes of each animal did Moses take on the ark?
Gosh.
How many
How many
sexes
sexes?
There's been so
of
many
each
jokes
animal did
about
Moses
this.
take on the ark?
One of each.
That was Noah. Moses didn't take anything on the ark.
See, yeah, that's why
Trick
I quit
question.
answering them
You know
because
where I
question.
heard that question the first time?
Where's
My
that?
electronics class in Jacksonville High School.
Who was
And
that?
Daryl Matthews was the
Uh-huh.
teacher.
my
and he-
brother took
And he
electronics.
gave us,
How
that's
about
the other
that?
thing we're missing. We're missing electronics classes. Do they have any
Right.
auto classes?
Yes.
Do they?
We have automotive
at the
and
tech
collision.
At
Yeah.
Skill Center?
Skill set.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah, you
Shop?
should see the paint shop. I mean, it's
Oh,
incredible. Yeah,
yes.
it's high tech stuff.
Do y'all team with Coastal Carolina on some of
Yes.
those technical
Yeah.
classes, those trade
Excellent.
classes?
David Heatherly and I have built a friendship, and he's another one that I have to give kudos to. What a great guy! I don't know if he's ever been on your
I'm
show
writing it
before,
I
down
think
right
so, but we're
now.
going to get him.
but David Heatherly is he's top notch.
Yeah. Well, I like the Skill Center out there.
Is
I
he
like the
Coastal
facility.
Carolina?
Yes, he's
Okay.
the president of the.
We went out to the
Oh.
Skill Center a couple months ago
Cool. All right.
for the
I'm
Man
calling
Who
him
Cook
today.
contest,
Yeah,
Salvation Army.
yeah.
And I won again.
Again. You should see the faces. They're like, "Pfft, again. We have no chance.
Yeah, you do. You just cook better. Cook
Raver.
something that's appealing. That's what you got to do.
Mhm,
Different and
mhm.
appealing.
Right.
Well, I do want to say, Dr. Collins, thank you so much
Yes,
for
ma'am.
all that you've done for the school
Thank you.
systems. I think Onslow County schools have been in great hands all these years. Dr. Singletary, and then you
Mhm.
stepping in, and I'm so impressed with what our schools offer our students
Mm.
and our people here. And special shout out to Brenda Herman,
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
the
Yes.
principal of Jacksonville High
Hey, we
School.
got to go by and see
You
that.
don't know how much this man, and we'll
Oh,
take
yes.
pictures and send them to you.
We'll take
We'll
pictures
see you at the ball game.
game.
We'll see you at the ball game Friday
You'll
night.
recognize us.
Yes.
Thank you guys for having me.
All right,
And
thank
take
you.
care and Merry Christmas.
Merry
Thank you.
Christmas,
You
sir.
too. Always.
Oh,
Wow.
What a-
I just don't want him to leave. Stay the last
we
30
can,
minutes
he
or so.
won't have anything to do after the March. We can bring it back anytime.
Yeah, we can.
And he doesn't have to come in at 7:00, 7:30. He can come in a little bit later then. It'd be all right. Marine forecast brought to you by Community Prevention Services of Jacksonville. Only a couple weeks left to load up on anything you can find to fulfill the annual gifting requirements. I know that for a lot of folks out there, a lot of people, it's a pleasure to buy gifts for others. But for some people, it's kind of a stressful period of time. If you're at Christmas time and you don't have anything to give somebody else, and you've said, I don't want any gifts, you should be honored with that. That should be okay. Don't feel like you should be put out to go do it. So if you don't want gifts, just tell them. It's kind of like Halloween, right? Turn your porch lights off if you don't want to be visited. That should be a sign. However, when you show up at Christmas and people give you gifts and you've told them you didn't want any, then where are the gifts that you should have to give to somebody? Do you feel guilty? You should not. You should not, but you will. Too many of you will. Too many of us will. Imagine how they feel, though. Imagine how if you could have put yourself in their shoes. Oh my God, here's a gift for you. I know you didn't get me anything, but it's okay. Some of those gifts are for gift giving only.
Well, let's
Just
just
the
say
sake of gifting.
Christmas can be stressful.
It is stressful. It's just very stressful. The day after Christmas or after the crowd leaves on Christmas Day, a lot of people get very depressed. Some people look for the excitement of Christmas and then all of a sudden it's gone. It's over. What you build up to beginning in July when the store started putting Christmas stuff out, you build up to it until Christmas Day, and then all the people are there, everybody's eating and everybody has eaten, everybody's exchanged gifts, and then they're gone.
You know, and that's something that absolutely sucks about it.
Yeah,
I mean, there's such a anticipation
it is.
and excitement, and then in 15 minutes you tear
It's over.
open everything and it's over.
Yeah. For some people, trying to recover after such an event is stressful. I'm not
Mhm.
sure who really needs the help of counselors at Community Prevention Services more. The people who stress themselves out trying to make sure they're on, or those people who did not get presents to give to other people. It's time to have a little intervention, perhaps. You might need it. You might want it. Don't blame yourself for any of this. I know it's kind of the thing these days. Talk, if you're really stressed, talk to about this or anything else. Talk to the folks at Community Prevention Services right here in Jacksonville for issues brought on by Christmas and other situations. Give them a call at 910-353-0972. Offshore today out to 20 nautical miles. Gale watch is in effect from late tonight through late Wednesday night. The ocean will not be your friend. It's okay this morning, but get ready to come ashore pretty quickly if you do decide to go out. Southwesterly winds 5 to 10 knots, increasing to 10 to 15. When you start seeing the seas get bigger, it's time to come back. In the beginning, there'll be 2 to 3. Sounds and rivers, a light chop. Tomorrow, different story. Could be bad all day. Southerly winds 25 to 30, gusts up to 40 knots, seas 7 to 10 feet, occasionally to 13 feet. Could be as high as 17 feet in the afternoon. Near shore, 6 to 9 footers. Sounds and rivers very rough. Thursday, northwesterly winds coming down slightly 15 to 20 with gusts to 25, diminishing to 10 to 15 by Thursday afternoon. Seas down a bit, 5 to 7. Could be a 9-footer or rogue wave out there somewhere. Sounds and rivers choppy, diminishing to a moderate chop in the afternoon.
Okay, and this is going to be local weather on the fly because I didn't anticipate it this morning, so I don't have it ready. But today, isolated showers, partly sunny with a high near 73. Tonight, a chance of showers, cloudy with a low around 63. Wednesday, showers, high near 72, breezy with a south wind 14 to 22 miles per hour with gusts as high as 37. Wednesday night, showers with a low around 34. Thursday, sunny with a high near 52.
Okay, got a caller. Good morning. Who's this?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
Holidays are a joke to me.
Okay.
All of it is commercialization. I don't have family. I have 1 or 2 friends. I don't celebrate Christmas. I don't celebrate Thanksgiving. I don't get together with family or loved ones. Do you guys do that?
Do we celebrate? I love Thanksgiving more than any other holiday of the year as far as holidays per se are concerned, because I get to cook a lot and I get to feed other people a lot, which I enjoy doing.
So what about your co-host?
One is here. She loves Thanksgiving.
I think
So what about-
Thanksgiving is probably my most favorite holiday
Mine
of the
too.
year because that's when families and friends have a tendency to gather together.
Mhm.
There's no gifts you have to worry about. There's no stress involved in it. It's just getting together, laughing, eating, and having a great time.
Okay. Now you're going to say, what about Christmas, aren't you?
No, actually, I'm going to get to that eventually. But so do you guys all get along at these get-togethers?
Oh, yes.
No, yeah, well, so far.
So, okay.
Yes, so far.
No, here's one of the things that I have, though. If I'm going to be cooking, and I also cook for my daughter, granddaughter, son-in-law,
Mhm.
and generally some other people from time to time. Not so much anymore, but we used to have a big old table full of folks. But I will do a prime rib. And during my dinner, whatever time of day it is, that is going to be the dinner meal. It could be 2:00 in the afternoon. It could be 5:00 in the evening, but it's going to be dinner. And during that time, do not bring a cell phone to my table.
How many people will be at that get-together for each of you guys?
For Christmas?
At Thanksgiving.
At Thanksgiving, we may have a dozen or 15. We've had as many
I
as
generally have
30
all
or
the
so.
family.
But we do a little bit of unique. You're in a different part of the world. Quite often, we did not do it this Thanksgiving, but quite often, our primary meal is going to be steamed oysters. So I may have a table or people rotating on the table. Could have 30 people there eating oysters. And yes, there'll be a little turkey for the people who don't like oysters, both of them. But we do things like that. It's different.
So when it comes to Christmas, is that like a big time for your grandkids or your children, however young or old they are, where some presents are under the tree, and so you wake up early and it's like a great celebration, like a traditional type thing?
Used to be. My youngest person that will be anywhere we will be, she's in her 20s. She'll be 21 in February. So, she's beyond the little gifts under the tree. But you want to know what her first Christmas gift was from Grandpa? She was born in February, and and when Christmas rolled around, I gave her a set of Tupperware. The first thing she did was exactly what I thought she would do. She opened that box with a little help from me and my pocket knife. But she opened the box and she took the pots, the little bowls out. She put them on top of her head. She played with them. All the other sophisticated stuff that she was given, no. She played with the bowls.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Do you two celebrate with your families together? Also, I'm very sick. I lost my voice. But do you two celebrate with your families together at all, or do you just keep it business?
Oh, well, that's
you're talking
in
about
here.
us?
Oh, we all get together from time to time.
Yeah,
It
family's
depends.
always invited.
Yeah, we always get together at different times, and we do different things together.
So that's cool. Hey, do you guys do some sort of gift exchange
No,
between your staff?
No.
No, you don't do anything like that?
no, we have, but
Well,
if we do something, it'll be a token, something that I know that
Yes.
one or both of them would like to have. But it's a token. That's all it would be.
Yeah, I'll take
It's
that
kind-
$1,000 gift
It's kind
card.
of like a Christmas, a Christmas card. But it
Right.
may be something real instead of a Christmas card. Christmas cards I get kind of bored with.
Yeah.
hey, let me ask you another question. Do you guys ever pre-produce bits? Have a segment where you produce something a day or two before, where you put something funny together and then you show it on the air?
Nope.
Or you don't do stuff like that?
No, the name of this show from day one is called Live and Local. We like live. I don't pre-record anything. I made one exception to that one time, and that was when our now late congressman, Walter Jones, he had asked me, he said, I've got Jim Jordan, and a national
One of my
figure who's a good
favorites.
friend of mine, and he's going to be visiting me. Would you perhaps, by any chance, I know you do live, and because you won't ever record me, he said, but if I bring him by, he can't be there at 7:00 in the morning, but if I bring him by later, would you record a segment with him? I said, that'll be the one and the only time. But yes,
Mhm.
that's it.
Oh, you talking about Jim Jordan, the congressman?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I've met him personally several times.
There's a chance that you can have him on your show?
We had him on our show.
We have a U.S. congressman that's regularly
And
on our
we-
show,
we
and a
have-
U.S. senator.
We have one of our
too.
senators on regularly.
And then
Do
all
you
of
know
us.
the name Rob O'Neill?
Rob
I do not.
O'Neill.
Yeah, you
I
do.
do not.
He's the guy that shot and killed Osama bin Laden. I had him on the show one morning.
Yes, I know. Okay, so wait. So you actually had Jim Jordan on your show?
I did.
Oh, yes.
I had Donald
Can I
Trump
go back-
Jr. on the
can I
show
go back
too.
and-
Yeah.
Can I go back and you two didn't see that?
I don't think we were doing YouTube and Facebook Live back
Oh,
then.
we weren't doing
no,
Facebook.
we weren't doing
We
that.
didn't
It was
do
all
that.
on the air radio.
Yeah, we didn't start Facebook and live until it was what?
Okay, that's cool.
Whenever.
When it comes to pre-produced bits, I wrote something and I want to put it together of Nancy Pelosi going down a toilet but trying to get out of that toilet. Keep on trying to get out of that toilet. If I send it to you, is there a chance that you may show that on air?
You send it to me and let me know.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Listen, you have a
All
good
right,
day.
you
I'm
too.
leaving
Thank
this
you.
place.
You
I'm
too,
very
Charlie.
sick.
All right, bye.
Feel better.
See ya.
Wow.
Yeah, we like live. I mean, first of all, if you screw it up, you've done it. If
It
I screwed it up
happens.
while I'm recording something,
You can fix
then
it.
I have to go back and edit, and I don't want to do that. It takes too much time. How long does it take to do a 2-hour show for us? It's called 2 hours. If I recorded a 2-hour show, and we used to do that kind of stuff in TV, for different occasions, it could take you 3 days to record a 2-hour show.
Right.
You know how long it took me to record just to do my portion of the, we had John Legato in last week,
Yes.
retired FBI agent, an author, and now a film producer and
Yes.
Marine
Podcaster.
podcaster.
He does everything.
But how long do you think it took me to do that 35 minutes of audio?
Knowing you and the experience that you carry with yourself, I don't think it took you probably less than an hour.
Wrong.
Well, how long did it take you?
Days.
Really? Seriously?
I would
thought
spend
you just
I would
breezed
spend
right through it.
I breezed right through it, and I went back and listened to it. I said, that sounds like dog stuff, and I just went back and did it again. Here and here. Yes, that's the way I do things. Okay, we're approaching the end of the show.
Is it that? Oh
The
my
Christmas
gosh.
season is upon us. Okay,
Ah.
y'all. The Christmas season is upon us. It's the time of year when we like to get together, break bread, and exchange gifts.
Oh,
we
that's
do that.
Right.
not as many of us as we used to, because their relatives sometimes are scattered a lot, West Coast, East Coast, and then they have their own families.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all expanded. But when we exchange gifts and finding just the right present, it gets pretty hard as the years go by. The older we get, the more mature we get, the more realistic we become. We've got a lot of experience under our belts. We've seen things come, we've seen things go. It's called the cycle of life, right?
Absolutely.
It's the cycle of life. That's what it is. The gift of planning ahead, planning for the future, is one of the most valuable gifts you can give to your loved ones. Think about that for a minute.
Very.
Something you could leave behind for them to make plans with. Estate planning provides peace of mind, helps avoid those dreaded family conflicts, and ensures your wishes are honored during critical times. Now, I'm not talking about you doing your own. You'll do that anyway, but talking about other people that you know, maybe you could give them a gift that they could go out and use to set up an estate planning program, right? Right now, you can get a certificate that entitles the bearer, whoever you give it to a basic North Carolina last will and testament, prepared by Cheryl P. Colson under the supervision of attorney Samuel S. Popkin. It's valued at $300 under normal conditions. You can get it for $150, 50% off.
Yes. Do it.
All documents can be securely filed with the North Carolina Secretary of State, the Oslo Clerk of Court, or the Register of Deeds as applicable. This offer does not cover complex estates or trusts. You would imagine that it would not. The original numbered certificate must be presented at the first consultation and is valid for 6 months after it is issued, and is only valid for drafting and signing one will. It has no cash value, you can't get your money back, and cannot be used for other legal services. For additional information, call the office of Samuel Popkin, attorney at law, at 910-347-0100 or 252-647-6016. Those numbers again, 910-347-0100 or 252-647-6016. This is a legal advertisement brought to you by Samuel S. Popkin, attorney at law. The team,
Excuse me.
that team wants to wish you and your loved ones a wonderful holiday season filled with peace and joy.
And I'm going to post that to our social media for people that
This is
have
great.
heard and very interested, wasn't able to get out the pen fast enough. I'm going to post that and pin it for a little while, because it's very important. It's very important if you've ever had to deal with a passing member of the family, say a parent, and no arrangements were previously made. There are some families that have become very divided over the years over a loved one passing because they wanted to spend more time fighting about who was going to get what. So do this. It's very important.
All right, some good news. Sitting in the back of a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, 26-year-old Luigi Mangione
Bye-bye.
was spotted by an Altoona police officer, a rookie cop, 6 months on the force, who took immediate action and arrested him. He faces charges in the ambush murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson last week in New York City. Officer Tyler Fry, he needs to go down in history, y'all, said Mangione began shaking when the cop started walking towards him, shaking like a little thief and murdering scumbucket that he is.
Right.
I guess he was. The jig was up and he knew it. In police records, the accused shooter's home address was in Towson, Maryland, if I pronounced it right. If not, it was in Maryland.
It's close enough.
In addition to the charges in New York, Mangione faces charges in Pennsylvania, including forgery, firearms, not to be carried without a license. In other words, he had a gun without a license, tampering with records or identification, possessing instruments of a crime, and false identification to law enforcement authorities. The University of Pennsylvania graduate was working on a laptop at the McDonald's when he was confronted. He was wearing a blue medical mask. The cop looked at him and said, "Take that mask off, please." Police found a manifesto of type that criticized the healthcare system.
Your order is ready.
Handwritten. The 26-year-old software engineer was carrying a pistol with a suppressor at the time of his arrest. That's the kind of pistol
Right.
description that was used in the murder of Mr. Thompson.
Yes.
Also recovered were 4 fake IDs. One of those IDs was the name that he used to check into a motel. The handwritten manifesto criticized the healthcare system for putting profits above care. Too bad, Bubba. See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what. Kudos to all the law enforcement that worked on that
Absolutely.
because they did a fabulous
Yeah,
job on
and,
that.
uh,
They
they-
didn't leave anything unturned.
No, Did you
And
see-
what's this? It
did
was
you-
a 3D ghost gun. How can people make these ghost guns using 3D? I need one of those machines.
Why? It'll cost you more than it will to go buy a
Not
gun.
to make a gun, but the stuff. It's just like the little things that Homer Spring brought us that time. Those little,
They're up here somewhere.
yeah, it's like Rubik's cube. He made that
Mhm.
using 3D program. How do y'all do that?
I've got a bracket that I had a bracket that mount one of my radios
Yes.
in the vehicle, right? And in the transfer over from the vehicle that I had before, and I took the bracket out,
Right.
and then I tried to find that bracket, and well, that didn't work. So
It's just
one of the
amazing.
Ham Club radio guys, I'll get you one. So he made one on his 3D printer.
How do you
He gave it to
do
me.
that?
I don't know. So they're smarter than I am.
What do you pour in some
You would think, but I
plastic
don't
and
know.
it comes out? I mean,
Maybe we'll get one of those
we need to find that's
geeks on the
fascinating.
air here one day.
Well, I am definitely going to get up with David Heatherly today
Okay.
because
A Maysville man's back in jail after he failed to comply with the requirements of his bail bond. 42-year-old
Right.
Brian Franklin Fry was apparently holed up in a Maysville residence, refusing to surrender to bail bondsmen who
Piece
were
of
going to
garbage.
return him to the jailhouse.
thug.
The bondsman contacted the Onslow Sheriff's Office Sunday evening. They asked, we need some help getting this man out. He's fired a couple of shots, not at us,
Yep.
no specific direction.
Right.
He locked himself in a bathroom and set one or more fires inside the home. He's old enough to know better. 42
He's
years
a
old.
thug.
He doesn't have a criminal history. You can't say that
No,
yet.
he
He's
does
accused
now.
of some stuff. Deputies managed to remove him from the bathroom, and firefighters, a whole host of them, were standing by, quickly extinguished the fire. Fry was originally wanted for failure to appear for court in Onslow County back in
Mhm.
July for a felony statutory sex offense with a child
Yep.
and felony indecent liberties with a child. Deputies seized the handgun as the case remains open for investigation with future charges pending. He remains in the jailhouse now without benefit of bond.
Understand he's been released from Onslow County and sent to
Not
another
released.
county.
He's been
Yeah,
transferred.
transferred is what I meant. Yeah, not
Taken easy.
released from Onslow into the custody of another.
Do not expect him to be.
Oh,
out
he's
of
not getting
jail.
out this time, and he doesn't need to. And
I'm
I
trying
will
to find
say
Find a bondsman who would bail him out. Number
that I'm familiar with this on a personal level,
one. Mhm.
and
If he's guilty, he's a scum.
oh, he's guilty in my book.
If he's guilty, he's a
scum.
scum. But we don't know that he's guilty.
Bye bye.
There may be, some of the parties involved. You just don't know for sure everything, do you?
No, but I feel very confident that what I do
Do you
know.
think, based upon your knowledge, that you could render a fair and
I
impartial?
wasn't there when it happened, but
Could you render a fair and impartial verdict if
Nope.
you were on a jury?
nope.
Then you won't be seated.
No, well, I'm not asking. That's the second time somebody's brought up jury duty. You're really working hard at jinxing me. My sister got jury duty
When you
last
get
month,
older, they don't let you do that.
but she's older than I am, and she got a jury summons.
Yeah, but I'm older than both of you.
And so, is there
Combined.
an age limit on jury duty?
I don't know, but thank God when I fly next time, I don't have to take my shoes off. After the last birthday, I'm done.
Well, the last couple times I flew, which was 10 years ago, I somehow got on a list where I didn't have to go through all that. They go, "You're fine. You don't have to do it."
Smelly feet do that.
No.
Y'all thought better of me than that, didn't you? Nope. What's tomorrow? We got Dr. Rosemary Stein and Peter Wright.
And Peter Wright. I've got so many questions, but I'm okay. I'm okay. You didn't hear the first part of the show. You were gone. And I was talking about how I was talking to healthcare yesterday by phone. And I got so upset. I was like, now I understand why so many healthcare people are getting hurt. I said,
Oh,
I
Lord.
didn't mean that.
Nah.
But
Can't do that.
I'm going to tell you why. It's frustrating. And thank goodness we have Peter Wright to help us.
What if I could get a special dispensation for Friday night? I want my hot chocolate. And you know, here's the I'm
Here we
I'm
go
gonna, I'm gonna
again.
try, I'm gonna say
Look.
if I got to get out of that stand and walk across the field, literally like it would have had to do last weekend, which is down at the end.
Right,
You have to walk around
right.
the end, around the goal line, goalpost. Then you got to walk all the way in, which is further than Jacksonville's.
70,
from this
Fayetteville
visitation.
71st, I'm not going anywhere but the stand. That's
And
it.
well, that's all I did. And if anybody who
Sure, it's a
was
great
from
school.
Jacksonville was there and you found a cane underneath the bleachers, I dropped one early in the game. I
Was
went
that
back-
where you had the hot chocolate at?
No, not that cane. I'm still working on that one. 4-inch pipe, 4 feet long.
Well,
I got to figure
we
out
could bring
how
the,
much volume with a internal diameter of a 4-inch pipe. 4-inch
Right.
PVC pipe, right? Sterilized it.
right.
How much liquid could I put in there if it's 4 feet long?
No, I think I have this figured out. We get some dry, the envelopes of hot chocolate mix dry.
Uh-huh.
We can hide those in our clothes, you know.
I know
and
where
'cause-
you're going to hide them.
And sorry. And then if they'll let us bring one water bottle in,
No outside.
it's just water.
No, it's not. It's cold water. If you
Well,
bring it in,
no,
I'm not
But
drinking
we've
any
got the
cold
heated
chocolate.
stadium seats, so we can figure out
That
how
ain't
to.
hot enough to boil water.
No, we can figure out how to make a heat warmer for the water.
Hey, they didn't say that I could not bring.
I don't know.
You know, they make these immersion things. Have you ever seen those?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And plug
I
it
wonder
into
if they
our
got
seat
one
cushions.
if they got one for that 5-volt battery, I could do that.
See, that's what I'm talking about. See, now you're thinking it's not. We're going to make 3D chocolate for Friday night. Oh yes.
I need. Hey, you know,
You can make a gun using a
Wait a
3D
minute now.
printer. We can make hot
Fayetteville
chocolate.
is up there. They got a
Vietnam.
bunch of soldier guys that jump out of airplanes, right? They could do a supply drop. They could come in low on a C-130.
What are the post office will deliver to us right out there? Because I have.
I got a better
connections there.
idea. I'm calling Domino's.
I'm
Send me a pizza and some hot chocolate.
now. I have a family member that's manager of Domino's for this area.
Well, this is in Fayetteville. I want
He knows people.
well, good. I want lots of beef on mine. Lots of meat.
That we probably wouldn't get away with, but we're going to figure out this hot chocolate. we have another week now to do it. 3D hot
Let's see,
chocolate. I'm in.
if I drink enough of it before I get in there and I stay seated on my hot seat, it should stay warm. Okay.
Well, I will tell you, I did post the link to buy the tickets for Friday night. It's on our Facebook. Tickets are $10. No outside backpacks or food. It didn't say drink. It just said food. So
Wonder if I could get one of them backpacks that'll fit underneath my jacket.
I'm going to call them. And I'm going to tell them like we're CNN or something. And
Oh, that not in this neck of the woods. You don't want to do that. That's a
well, you see,
conservative
that's why I
area.
blame it on CNN.
Yeah.
Just kidding, guys. We'll figure it out.
All right.
Anyway,
We'll see you tomorrow morning at 7:00. We'll be here and have a good rest of your day. Stay
Yes.
warm. It's not too cold today.
rain coming in tonight and tomorrow.
Yeah,
Heavy
well,
rain.
we've already had rain.
Yes.
Had a little bit this morning.
Yes, we did. It's supposed to be more coming in later tonight.
Mhm.
And then tomorrow's supposed to be 100% chance of rain. We need the rain. Not
I
complaining.
never bet on anything that says 100%.
Yeah.
I will be that one little spot.
Well, as a weatherman, you can be wrong and still be right and keep your job. So
You know who else can always be right?
who's that?
Peter. You're live and local Real Talk on Freedom. You're live and local Real Talk on Facebook and YouTube channels. So hang in there.
And thank you very much, Dr. Collins, for coming in.
Yeah,
It was
please.
a
That was a pleasure and an
pleasant
honor.
Yes, it
to be in
was.
your presence, sir. Well, we'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye.